Anyway, let's blast off real quick before I get into this stuff, right? Um, folks, we have a lot to talk about. Do we have a blast off meme? That's the real question. I did Breakfast Club. And I talked about democratic socialism and New York City DSA. They're on Netflix now, so full episodes are rare on YouTube. Yeah, I got the Druku one. I'm gonna post that. But do we? I'll post it. Where is it? Where the frick is it? Get in now. Yeah, I'm gonna have Trita Parsi on later, obviously, to talk about the government repression that he's experienced, his interview with Tucker Carlson. But more importantly, we got 30 minutes with him because he's exceptionally busy nowadays, and I'll probably be asking him quite a bit about how he feels about the current MOU situation, right? I learned so much shit when Trita is on. Well, that's the whole point, right? That's the whole point, right? That's what we're doing. What is this looking real hand jobs tale? What does that even mean? Yeah, breaking Iran deal includes $300 billion fund, more than half of which already committed. Source says, according to Reuters, Israel has been leaking some of these details because they're fucking mad. They're real mad. They're bent out of shape. Hand jobs tale? What the hell is a hand jobs tale? Breakfast Club, how about 30 to 40 minutes of you on the YouTube? The full uncut interview is Netflix exclusive. Yeah, we went on for a minute too. We went on for a while. But yeah, go check it out on Netflix. But whatever the video format that exists that's out there that we can watch, we should watch. I'm sure someone has ripped it already. Not Netflix exclusive, full audio only. No, I'm not looking for the audio one. I'm looking for the video because they filmed the whole thing. Hossie, get the R word off the screen. What, Reuters? The R word. You got exposed.
I went undercover at a radical leftist meeting so I can show.
Oh, here, send me the TikTok link on this so I can boost it on TikTok. Democrats are going to blow it in the midterms. Yes. That's always a likelihood. Yeah, what they've released is like 9 minutes of techno feudalism and stuff like that. But this is obviously, there's a lot longer. This was like an hour plus long conversation. You know what I mean? Anyway, but yeah, we're blasting off, folks. We're blasting the frick off. Hold, I'm ripping it. I'll have the link soon. Here,
America deserves. I went undercover at a radical leftist meeting so I can show America what's really going on. This was supposed to be a rally, but then 3 different venues canceled because the speakers were too extreme. Since I was able to infiltrate their little get-together, I decided to go straight to the source. It was time to ask everyone about their most radical beliefs.
I don't think childcare should cost more than a mortgage.
Can you believe he said that on camera?
I don't think in the richest, most powerful country in the world that we should be letting people go homeless.
Fox News, I hope you're getting this.
I believe we should have health care for everybody.
Whoa. Enough with the extreme rhetoric.
I don't think my tax dollars should go to sending my neighbors to concentration camps.
What else would taxes be used for? Come on.
I just think that our representatives should be accountable to the people and not to corporations.
Doesn't this chick know that corporations are people too?
America deserves to go way beyond the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, and get Medicare for all.
Just more violent rhetoric from the extreme left. I followed these fringe extremists to a protest at the Capitol. There were speeches about things like getting big money out of politics, housing, healthcare, abolishing ICE. I can definitely see why all of these venues canceled. Make sure to plug into the campaigns of all of these candidates so we can keep an eye on the radical left.
Whoa, buddy. I know. I went beast mode on this. I mean, POV, you are Olivia Reingold, professional journalist. Yeah, once again, we got the daily. Oh, are you keeping up with the algae gate? Yeah, President Trump fixes the reflecting pool and a week later is green again, loaded with algae, sabotage, vandalism. I believe it. The left can't stand Trump. American greatness with his quest to make DC beautiful again. What a shame. Yeah, algae. More like, yeah, this man is incapable of not making shit more swampy, dude. It's awesome. He's running around being like, this is it. We're gonna make America beautiful. We're gonna make it beautiful. And everybody was like, hey, no matter what you do, it's still going to turn green, right? Yeah, drain the swamp, baby. It's just really funny that it happened so fast. I genuinely thought this would hold out until like July 4th. You know what I mean? I thought it would at least hold out for like a month. No. It fucking flipped. Majority Report, thank you for the raid. Hope you had a good stream. Yeah. Hope you had a great stream, Majority Report. Motherfucker didn't even reinstall like the high-end filter Obama put in, so the algae came back days after instead of months. That's why it happened so fast. He got rid of Obama's expensive fancy filter. Respect. Yeah, we don't want none of that gay, woke, libtard filter, highfalutin filter. Okay? We are against Barack Obama. Bardock, no bummer. We're against it. We're against everything he's for, including the expensive filter.
And pussy too.
Yeah, and pussy too. That's right. Folks is actually woke not to enjoy a green reflective pool. That's awesome. I didn't realize the hogs were figuring out the conspiracy. They're figuring it out, folks. Here, let's start with this woke, libtarded New York Times and how they're covering it.
Wants to fix the Lincoln Memorial's reflecting pool, but it doesn't seem to be going to plan. Earlier this week, we reported that the contract to repaint and resurface the reflecting pool, which President Trump said would cost about $1.8 million, was actually going to cost about 7 times that, $13.1 million. On Tuesday morning, President Trump wrote a long Truth Social post, which calls me out by name and defends the contract, saying that,
I'll be honest, it's very funny.
As an anthropologist.
And very apt. Okay. This is so perfectly representative of where we're at in the United States of America. Like everything that we are doing, everything that Donald Trump does turns to shit. Okay. There is suspicion that this was also a favorable contract afforded to someone that knows someone in the administration. I think it was like a Mark Wayne Mullen friend. No bid contract. Unbelievably expensive. And fails flat on its face. It's just like it was already a hollow initiative to begin with. It's shallow. It's just like you just want to make it look kind of good, you know, like everything is shit in America, but at least we can like engage in beautification initiatives, right? And it not only falls on its face, but it falls on its face instantly. Yeah, shallow, no pun intended, but it's like it's so silly. Like a child's brain. We're like, oh, we just make it look good for the day. Maybe it'll look good for the week. Maybe it'll look good. Why don't we do it? We should do it. Make it look good.
that it is a deeply complicated work of smart and beautiful construction. The reflecting pool is a national icon. It's a part of so many people's conception of Washington and America. But the things that make it beautiful also make it a real nightmare to keep up. It's very, very long, and that means lots of joints between the concrete slabs. Those leak out 16 million gallons of water every year. The pool is also very shallow. That makes it a petri dish for the growth of algae, which make the pool look green. The Obama administration spent more than $35 million trying to fix these problems and basically failed. President Trump, though, has said he wants the pool to be blue, specifically what he calls American flag blue. So they're applying basically a waterproofing compound. It's also used in swimming pools or pipes. And as part of that compound, they're adding this blue color. But some Interior Department staffers have noticed issues with the waterproof coating that's being applied to the pool. They noticed bubbles, small holes, and also inconsistent colors. So
it's so shit. Oh, that's so funny. This is such a perfect example, dude. This story is everything to me. I mean, oh my God, an unbelievably stupid way to try and make things seem good. It's so perfect. Everything around us is going to shit. And Donald Trump's like, oh, we'll just slap a coat of paint on it and it'll look good. It turns out they can't even do that successfully. They slapped the coat of paint on it and it failed. It failed.
Some places were more blue than others. Folks that I've talked to who know the reflecting pool well say that if you don't repair the plumbing underneath the pool, then you may end up with another big bloom of algae, which no matter what color you paint the bottom of the pool, is still going to make the pool look green. The other issue which
it's awesome. He tried to landlord special it, dude. He is such a fucking real estate guy. It's fantastic. He genuinely thought, oh, we'll just do the landlord special. Just slap a coat of paint. What do you mean? Fix it. Slap a coat of paint and it fixes itself. Well, it turns out that's not how it works. Turns out the landlord special actually sucks for the people who have to experience it. You know?
Reported on earlier this week was questions about timing. The Trump administration justified giving this out as a no-bid contract because they said they had no time to consider other bids. President Trump said on a couple different occasions that he had personally found the contractor to do this waterproofing and
we had no time to look for other bids. We just
painting in the pool.
I have a guy who's unbelievable at doing swimming pools.
That's not the way that the law says contracts should be assigned. Federal agencies, when they need a job done, are supposed to seek out, whenever they can, multiple bids from multiple bidders to make sure they're getting the best work for the lowest price. However, the Interior Department did not do that. Instead, they've just said, look, we want to go fast. We want to be done by this summer so we can have the pool in good shape for the 250th anniversary. The contract was awarded on April 3rd. It's supposed to be done by May 22nd. That doesn't seem to be happening. Instead, what we've been told is they are about 35% done with the waterproof coating on the bottom. And the documents we've seen showed that on Sunday, they were 0% done with another key part of this job, which is to replace the joints between the slabs. What President Trump is saying now is he'd never worked with this company before, and he doesn't even know them. We've reached out to Atlantic Industrial Coatings, the company that's leading this work to apply waterproofing on the pool, and they've declined comment. It's a little bit ironic that the method and the contractor they chose may actually be moving so slow that they will miss their own deadline.
They're trying to props up tier 2 cities in 3 months, farms into San Francisco level tech colonies, and we can't even do a glorified swimming pool. Dude, it is so cooked. America is so fucked, bro. I swear to God. This is the most American story because Obama didn't fix the underlying infrastructure. Yeah. So, what's actually wrong with the reflecting pool is that it's the plumbing underneath it. Okay, the plumbing underneath it is in a state of dire disrepair. It's very costly to fix. So instead of fixing it, everyone just keeps slapping coats of paint on it. I guess Obama tried to put a new filtration system in it and it still failed. But Donald Trump didn't even try to do any of that. He just thought he could literally paint it blue and it would be fine. And now they're dumping hydrogen peroxide in the water. Y'all, not to be a huge nerd, but for the reflecting pool, you would need a minimum of about 8,000 liters of 12% hydrogen peroxide to reach the 50 parts per million concentration to kill algae. Is this what happens when you have 0 scientists in your administration? Oh my God, they're dumping hydrogen peroxide by hand, bro. Oh my God. That probably, especially because it leaks, is going to have environmental consequences as well, for the record. So it's probably going to end up seeping into the fucking ground and kill the lawn in the area. Just so you understand. One, they're not going to be able to dump in the necessary amount of hydrogen peroxide. And two, even if they were supposed to do that, it's going to kill a fuck ton of birds, a fuck ton of the natural wildlife in the area, and it will probably kill the greenery in the area as well because it has holes in it. There's no way, if you hit the necessary amount of hydrogen peroxide, that amount of hydrogen peroxide making contact with the natural environment is probably not going to be good. God damn, everything is so stupid. It's safe, it degrades fast. Oh my God, it's so funny. What a fucking hilarious failure this is. Anyway, let's hear. Shut the fuck up. You're wrong. There's no algae. Oh, wait, hold on. Let's see what Fox News is saying. Well, the Fox News is contradicting what this guy is doing. This guy did some independent journalism, Hogwatch. Let's take a look.
Oh, man. Take a look at this. The reflecting pool's green.
It was supposed to be completely
black. Yeah.
I mean, we just saw it like a week ago. It was like crystal clear blue.
All that, yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
There's algae in here again. I feel like it's sabotage.
That wouldn't shock me either.
Why is it like this?
I can't tell if this is fucking parody or if this is legitimately a bunch of hogs in the wild looking at a natural phenomena that everybody predicted would happen and going, how did the liberals do this? Joe Biden! I bet this was Kamala. You know who did this? Iran. They turned the pool green like their flag, brother. Joe Biden is working with Iran, the Islamic Republic. When I first heard about Iran as the Islamic Republic, I thought, Republican, I like that. But it turns out, although I like what they're doing to the women's and to the gays, I don't like everything else they're doing to Israel, the most important country on the planet. Far more important than my country, the United States of America. I'll say it. I bet Zoran came in here and made this Islamic green on purpose. Hezbollah, Joe Biden, they're all in on it, brother. These are your fellow voters? No, it's awesome. I love living in the United States of America with guys like this who definitely go out and vote, who also have outsized political representation. Okay?
Because it's gooey at the other end, and we walk this whole thing, we're like, there's
nice
no way that something like this. And the very opposite side is the World War II memorial. Right. The water's fine. Why is this? So something happened here.
I mean, they had just literally fixed this.
Obama spent $32 million and it never held water. Trump spends 14 and they go crazy.
They're pumping something into this. I don't know if it's air or what. And what a shame. Because in the end, after all the work that was done, after as proud as I was of President Trump for finally getting this thing fixed.
What the hell?
We're back to green. And again, is it nefarious? I tend to think so. You wouldn't have so much algae that you see in here. You would not have that quickly.
Yeah. Guys, I'm a HVAC business owner and I'm a pool specialist. And let me tell you, okay, let me tell you something. Folks, let me tell you something. As someone who's worked on pools and pool accessories my whole dang life, pools are not supposed to turn green this fast. Okay? I'm a pool guy. And I'll bet you what happened is a bunch of communists came over and shitted and farted in the pool. That's right. A bunch of communist babies came into the pool and pissed. That's right. And I've have it on good authority that Joe Brandon probably was the King Dookie. He was the one who was leading the charge. That's right. Remember Byron? He was sleepy Joe. He was sleeping all the time, unlike my president. Yep.
Unless somebody did something, I'm telling you, I think they want Trump to fail.
This guy learned about reverse Occam's razor. The most rational explanation is the least likely. I mean, you're literally describing just republicanism. You're describing reactionary thought. Yes, everything is the least likely alternative. They look at totally normal, innocuous shit and immediately assume that there is fuckery abound. There is fuckery afoot. The opposite of the most rational scenario is the most likely scenario. By the way, am I crazy or is this water even more green than it was before? Genuinely so dystopian about the right going, any other president would not do this when the thing Trump is doing is a response to fix a problem he caused. So yes, I suppose they're right. Another president wouldn't do this as this situation would have never happened. Like it is deep green. It is actually Sharia green. Like, I don't know how he did this. Oh, it's green for an amazing reason. It's so Trump. It's so perfectly Trump, man. God, it's so beautiful. Shit looks like Mountain Dew, man. What do you say to this? God, it's awesome. I love this country so much sometimes. This is one of those moments, right? It's just like, fuck it, we must have fun at least, right? If positive change is unlikely, then we might as well enjoy the show. This is one of those moments where you just got to give in to the hogs.
So badly that they'll come out here and do anything.
I think so.
Crazy.
I agree with you.
It's crazy. Although I think he'll get it fixed.
So the good news is, it's not leaking. That is true. And as the man said, if anybody can get it fixed, Trump can.
No, this is objectively the opposite of the thing you suspect. Okay? Yeah, here's how a renovated reflection pool in Washington, D.C. looks after Trump spent $14 million to make it great again. This is a perfect illustration of what's happening with America today.
The whole pond is green with some black showing once in a while. Looks like algae coated the whole bottom. I'd ask for my money back.
Oh, on one end, the guy pours hydroxide into the pool. On the other hand, a child plays with their hand in the water. Yeah, that's also America. Bro, this is literally, look. No disrespect, but this is straight up third world. Like, this is third world country with a Gucci belt. I'm seeing it happen in America. It's like, this is so positively Turkified. I don't know how to explain it to you guys. Like, I literally lived through this exact same thing that's going on in America right now when I was growing up in Turkey. It's so funny to watch it happen in the wealthiest nation on earth. It turns out the institutions, the democratic process, like things, the checks and balances, the 700 fucking scientists that would tell you this is an idiotic decision. In the process, the red tape that these guys actually love destroying was there for a good reason. Okay? I mean, this is literally the point. This is why you need, regulatory agencies to take a look at these contracts. This is it. It's happening in real time. In real time, it's happening. It just... Anyway, let's see how the fucking Fox News guys sold this, though.
I'm here at the newly renovated reflecting pool. It's painted American flag blue.
Oh my God. They're doing the don't believe your lying eyes. He's literally staring at it. He's like, look at how blue it is. It's blue. This is blue. Don't you dare say it's fucking green. It is not Islamic green. You do not say it's green. This pool is blue.
And the Democrats, they're going to tell you, oh, there's green algae. It looks so bad. But there's pool guys cleaning it up right now. No other president would do that. But President Trump is still cleaning it up. How is the reflecting?
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. We are such a stupid fucking country. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. We painted it in Islamic green as a part of the Iranian MOU. I mean, this story has everything, okay? This story has everything. It's captured every aspect of modern American existence, all of the stupidity, so perfectly. Trump comes in, wants a beautification initiative when everyone's like, this is not going to fix any of the problems. Trump literally brings in a contractor that he likes personally, that he knows personally, no bid contract. And of course, thinks that the landlord special of just like painting it blue is going to fix the problem when everyone says that's not going to work. They cut away with all the red tape, Abundus style. Okay. Turns out that red tape is actually for a fucking good reason, right? And in a matter of weeks, the problem gets far worse. The algae issue becomes a far larger problem instantly. Then you got the Trumpians, the Trumpies, the cultists that go there and suspect that there is some kind of sabotage from the woke left. And then you have the propaganda outlet for the state propaganda news broadcaster, Fox News, stares at that fucking green ass pool and goes, the Democrats will tell you this fucking pool is green, but it's very clearly American flag blue. Ah! It's everything. This is it. This is modern American existence, dude. This story has it all. You got a Fox News guy looking at the very clearly green reflecting pool behind him and going, don't believe your eyes. That's blue. It's the most beautiful type of blue. And I know there's going to be fans. There's going to be Trump cultists that go, that's blue, you fucking libtard. Shut the hell up. Shut your stupid mouth up. That's funny. Yeah. Dems say blue and green are different colors. They're not. What's going on? The reflective pool is very clearly blue. The bluest type of blue that you've ever seen. Democrats will tell you it's actually green. Do they want it to be green? Do they want it to be green, the color of Islam? Perhaps this plays a role in their immigration initiatives. What's going on? Is the Statue of Liberty green or blue? Well, I say it's both. Big W for the colorblind community. Yeah, big W for dogs. New images of the blue. Okay, dude. 11 years ago, the dress was posted on Tumblr. It was later confirmed to be black and blue. Yeah, I mean, there is an incredible irony to this, where they're like, they will sincerely look at like a trans woman and be like, that's a man, right? But also at the same time, they'll be like, this very clear green pool behind me is actually blue. And I guess it is technically in line. It's technically consistent, right? Because both of those things are stupid. Like, trans women are women, and that fucking reflective pool is absolutely green, okay? And Republicans want to be on the wrong side of both of these issues. They want to be like, nope, my way or the highway. And sometimes they let it slip, which is always my favorite moments, like when Ben Shapiro will accidentally correctly gender a trans woman, and then we'll catch him doing that, and he has to stop and misgender them. You know what I mean? Where they'll be like, well, she was, I mean, he was. It's so funny. This is not a normal way to live, man. I don't know why. Yeah, it's even funnier because he's wearing a fucking navy suit, so you know what blue looks like. And so are these guys. These guys are wearing blue shirts. You have on screen varying degrees of blue, so you know exactly what it's not. Like navy, blue, blue, blue logo. Varying degrees of blue on the bottom of the screen. So when he turns around and says, look at my big, beautiful blue ass pool, it's awesome. It's great. Everything is a sequence of the emperor has no clothes. And you have you have people who are going along with that narrative, with that meta nonstop. What is this? Breakfast Club link. You appear on. What is this? At 1:14, I don't even know what this is. I don't even know what this link is.
If you watch Twitch, he's heavy on social.
How'd you find this? Before and after, it was blue before. This combination of pictures created on the 10th of June using satellite images released by Vantor Technology shows the Lincoln reflecting pool on the National Mall in Washington, in Washington, D.C. on June 2023 on the top and June 2026 on the bottom after it was resurfaced and painted blue. Yeah, and it went back. Yeah, it was blue for like one day, and it wasn't like American flag blue either. And now it's fucking green again. The peroxide is making it look worse. Oh my God, foam floats on the surface of the U.S. National Park Service. Workers dump bottles of hydrogen peroxide. Oh no! They talked to the boss last week. Wait, is this actually real? Wait, exclusive interview. Trump's pool got fires back at critics who say the reflecting pool sealant is black. It doesn't reflect. Algae will return. Missed deadline. Watch full video.
It's definitely blue. It's a very, very dark blue, but it is blue. It's just that dark. If you take something black and put it up against it, you'll see the blue. Black, blue. Black, blue.
What? Well, you don't have to worry about that anymore, big dog. It's neither black nor blue any longer, you know? Wait, so this person like actually found the pool guy? Or is this just like a random pool guy?
At the reflecting pool, and it is totally green. But I'm going to tell you exclusively why this happened and how it's getting fixed.
Oh no. Oh no, those ducks are going to die. Oh no, the fucking children that are going to the park. Those ducks are dead, bro. That hydrogen peroxide is going to kill those motherfucking ducks. Oh no, that's a dead family of ducks right there. They're so stupid. The algae mats are on the bottom. The peroxide won't mix properly without something to agitate the water. And they haven't thought about the smell that dead algae will emit just in time for July 4th. RFK goes, yum. Well, when those squirrels around the reflective pool start drinking the hydrogen peroxide infused water, what to many looks like scenes out of the Bible of Bedlam, death, and destruction, to me, I say, yum, it's dinner time. When I see roadkill on the reflecting pool, I think to myself, I'm starving. Many people are worried about hydrogen peroxide. But I know it kills COVID. Doctors are afraid of telling you this truth, that the hydrogen peroxide inside of the ducks, the now dead ducks, is actually very good in combating COVID, which is fake. Dr. Fauci lied. COVID is not real. But also at the same time, hydrogen peroxide kills it. That's right.
You know what time they're coming?
Water is less green today. Dude, how, like, this is literally shit that we would, like, this is one of those stories where you can just like directly match it with China. And you very quickly realize, like, this is exactly the type of thing that would never happen. You know what I mean? Like, this is the type of like beautification initiative that the Chinese government would control and try to engage in, and would never allow something like this to take place. Like, they would just like fix it up. Like, as some of the chatters also pointed out, like, compare and contrast the reflecting pool beautification initiative and the failure that it is in a matter of months versus in that same time period, like, I don't know, some kind of infrastructure growth that took place in China. This is something that developing countries do, and their excuses that they are poor. Yes, this is exactly the type of like inside baseball corruption that takes place in a developing nation. And you have the guy who's like, well, my nephew actually has worked on many pools, right? So we're just going to give the no bid contract to my nephew. And the nephew's like, I don't fucking know. We got some blue shit. And, you know, we slattered it around and it's probably fine. Except it's happening in the wealthiest nation on earth. Yeah, overpaid uncle contracts are a normal part of developing nations. Except now we get to experience it as well. Yeah, put the green water, I mean, not green, objectively less green water back in, please. Will algae go away? Wait, why is she running in the last? That's awesome. Oh, bro, the state of California is built on corrupt uncle contracts. You think I don't know that? I know that, okay? Just like enshittification has impacted every aspect of our lives, though, enshittification has also destroyed the corrupt uncle contracts in a meaningful way. What do I mean by this? At least in the state of California, it's not so like apparent. It's not so in your face that the corrupt uncle contracts are unbelievably costly and not actually following through on these initiatives. This is a more, in your face version of the corrupt uncle contracts. So even the corrupt uncle contracts have gotten worse. Like, you need to go out into the wilderness to see the corrupt uncle contracts and their failures in full display. Chat, please like my shit against the centrist. What the fuck is this? What? Why are you... Speaking of RFK Jr. and animals and pools, this interview was insane. He threw a snake into a pool of children at a birthday party. Wait, what?
Ask you at one.
He actually, RFK Jr.'s sister at my daughter's four-year-old birthday party, RFK Jr. stuffed a snake and a small rodent together in a bag. The children all screamed. He then released the snake into a swimming pool full of children. Wait, what? I'm surprised he didn't just bite the head off in front of the kids. I wanted to traumatize them differently. Normally, it's a win-win. I grab the snake with my hands and I go, yum. And I bite the head of the snake and I chew on it in front of the kids. But this time I thought I would teach them a valuable lesson. It clearly builds character. You throw the snake in the water, and you're teaching the snake how to swim, but you're teaching the children to avoid the snake.
One more thing, if I can, before you go, Carrie, and that is just these viral videos that have come out of your brother and animals. One that he had posted of wrangling a pair of racer snakes with his bare hand.
That's fucking awesome, dude.
Cheryl, his wife, obviously, was repeatedly telling him to put them down. They were these racer snakes, I guess, on the porch of where they were, Dr. Oz's house or something like that, if I remember. But it just comes in the context of, the dead bear cub, which with the carcass to look like it was in Central Park, that situation. And I know,
I can't get over it. No. It's so stupid. Yum. I see a dead rodent on the side of the street. I say, that's snack time. I chomp on it like it's beef jerky.
Kick claims he once used a chainsaw to decapitate a dead whale. That went on the roof of the minivan, and then he drove it home. I mean, all these stories. I'm just curious, because someone had mentioned that he had a fascination with animals, with being a vet, animal carcasses, since very young childhood. Does that jive with what you remember as his sister?
Yeah, absolutely. And to me, it's complicated. I'm so grateful.
Wait, what the fuck? Why is RFK Jr.'s sister... Wait, what? Wait. What? Why does she sound like him? Wait. What the fuck is happening? I can't even hear anything any longer. The only thing I can hear is she sounds like a less bass boosted version of him. What the fuck? He taught her how to talk? Does she also have a brain worm, the same kind of worm that took over RFK's brain? Oh my God. Why do they both sound like that?
To Bobby, as my older brother when I was a kid, his fascination of nature he shared with all of us, and he took me to catch snakes and learn about frogs and salamanders and go on nature hunting trips. And he gave me a crow when I was a kid. It gave me a hawk. And I learned so much about him.
Spasmodic dysphonia? I know, but like, why do they both have it? Is this like a genetic problem? Because RFK didn't used to sound like the way he sounds now. I he infected her. Yeah. No, it's maybe the worm. Maybe the worm actually infects everyone around it. We first thought the worm only controlled RFK Jr. like Ratatouille, right? But maybe the worm also spreads. Have you ever thought about that?
It was another side. There was always another side. I'll just tell you this quick story. I guess my daughter is almost 30 now. So when she was maybe 4 years old, we were having our little birthday party. And I was looking in the garden and I found a snake. So I called Bobby. He just lived a mile down the road. And I said, there's a snake in the garden. He rushed over with his infant son, Aiden, in one hand, who was just a few months old, and a bed sheet in another, a pillowcase in the other. And he grabbed the snake and stuffed it into the pillowcase while he was holding his infant son. So that was a little scary. And then he walked up to where the rest of the birthday party was, and he reached into the bag, and this snake was just chomping on his hand. And he pulled out the snake to show the kids. Then there was a vole, which looks like a mole, a combination of a mole and a mouse. And he grabbed that with his hand, and he put it into the bag with the snake, which made all the kids scream because now they were afraid the snake would eat the vole. So then he shoved his hand back into the pillowcase and grabbed the snake, which chomped.
Bro, look at her face. She's like, what? Like, this is like, she's looking at her like, why are you telling me this story? I should not have asked about, the childhood of RFK Jr. It turns out it's just as fucking insane as you would have expected it to be.
On him a few more times. Then we went over to his house a mile away. There were tons of kids in the swimming pool, and he released this snake that had.
She said, "Oh my." Dude, what the fuck? If you're rich, this gets called eccentric. If you're poor, this is an involuntary commitment. She's telling this story like it's endearing. To the average person that isn't like brain poisoned with the Kennedy brain rot, I guess, or brain poisoned by unfathomable amounts of money, power, and influence. Because this is supposed to be the American royal family. To the average person, they're like, that's the most insane thing I've ever heard. I have a cousin like that. Yeah, he's no longer with us. Okay, he died in a state penitentiary. This is literally what the fuck? This is an insane person. An insane person that Donald Trump is elected or appointed to a position of profound power. He controls our healthcare initiatives. Oh my God.
His hand into the swimming pool. Now, so this is somebody who on the one hand has a fascination with nature, but on the other hand has, a lack of judgment when it comes to the safety and care of children. Well,
that's good then. It's good that we put him in charge of Health and Human Services. That's the best place to be. If you're the type of guy who strangles animals with your bare hands and fucking eats them and stuff, eats roadkill and very clearly puts children into dangerous situations, that's the perfect guy to put in charge of Health and Human Services.
This the person who you want running HHS, who's got this lack of judgment when it comes to health and safety. And I think we've got somebody who's been consistent about these things.
Yeah, bro loves traumatizing children and now is directly in control of what kind of vaccines children get. That's awesome. This is actually good. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, it's perfect. It's a perfect. We're talking about RFK Jr. and all of a sudden AI RFK Jr. pops up. Oh, my God. Yeah. foam floats on the surface as U.S. National Park Service workers dump bottles of hydrogen peroxide in the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool as a part of their effort to mitigate an algae bloom, which followed the completion of recent renovations in Washington, D.C. Does no one look at everything that's going on? Like all of these like very overt signs of instability and just like worse overall experiences, and think perhaps there's a problem here. Is that not a thing that people call into question at all, where they're like, you know, it's kind of weird that these guys wanted to fix the problem by just painting it blue, and then it failed, and they didn't actually they did away with all the red tape, all the bureaucrats that would have normally stopped this to ensure that it's actually successful, the implementation is actually successful. We decided, nah, we're not gonna do that. No more red tape, right? Obligatory China comparison. Yeah. In Shanghai, a 100-year-old 7,500-ton historical city block was temporarily relocated using 432 walking robots. Yeah, but at what cost? I mean, have you thought about the fact that we have freedom? Yeah, exactly, and they don't. Of course, I mean, we have freedom for the time being, and that's also going away. Shouts out to the Trump administration, but yeah, we have burgers. Yeah. That's, oh my God. We're never getting fucking walkable cities. We're never getting robust infrastructure. We're never getting public transit or public health care. Oh, we're cursed. We're cursed. We are fucking cursed. No, you don't. The screw worm is back. You're going to eat the bugs. Yeah. Fantastic. Everything sucks. I don't know if you covered it, but you're trending on Twitter. Am I? Yeah, I already responded. I mean, I already retweeted this as well.
So both places have a right to exist, because I hear people that are anti-Israel, they'll say Israel doesn't have a right to exist.
I think Israel in its current formation, given that it's a settler colonial operation that's seeking out the expulsion or complete extermination of the indigenous population as an apartheid state, does not have a right to exist. It's like, for me, it's like saying, does Nazi Germany have a right to exist? Or does apartheid South Africa have a right to exist? Does Rhodesia have a right to exist? No, of course not. People have a right to exist. People do exist. Israel currently exists. It's just a matter of, are they following international humanitarian laws? And they certainly are not. And I want to change that.
So is it like saying MAGA doesn't have a right to exist? Like in our current
like a movement, exactly. Yeah. Like that doesn't mean that, that doesn't mean kill all Republicans or whatever, right? I mean, I'm sure that's how people would present it as. I mean, this is a trick that every political movement deploys, right? You say Black Lives Matter, they turn around and say, oh, how about all lives matter? You're saying Black Lives Matter, which means you're saying white lives don't matter. It's like, no, that's a whole different sentence. So the does Israel have a right to exist deployment as a statement, as a question, is a technique to shift the conversation away from Israel's crimes against the Palestinians to make it seem like the opposition is actually being crazy and they want like all Jews to be exterminated, all Israelis to be exterminated, which is not the case. Bars. How'd you get Charlemagne to not interrupt your ass? I mean, I think it was a great conversation. There was a lot of productive back and forth there. And I'm sure people will get very mad about
have a right.
it. But what is this? A brilliant debunking of the question, does Israel have a right to exist, from the Matthew Cook? Bro, why you got to bring up other people debunking it? I just showed you me debunking it. My ass is debunking. You feel me? Does your jaw hurt from how much you're eating? L for not mentioning Jim Crow and mentioning Rhodesia to an American audience. I mean, I brought it back with the Black Lives Matter thing, though. You know what I mean? Bro, the IG comment section on the Throwing Fits posts are a reflecting pool. Yes. There is a great deal of people that are either bots or behave like bots on Instagram, in the Instagram comment section, on Twitter, where they see any mention of me and immediately go, dude, this guy's a fucking dog abuser. This guy's a fucking commie terrorist piece of shit. Why would you fucking platform him? I'm a lifelong fan of the Throwing Fits podcast. Even though as a lifelong fan, I didn't know that Hassan actually was on Throwing Fits many, many years ago and is friends with the fucking host. You know, it is what it is. It's just noise. I think more and more people have figured out that it's not real and it's something that you just tune out. Because, like, for me, I don't pay attention to the replies usually. I don't because I'm inundated with like negativity, so I just don't even look at it. And I think more and more people are starting to recognize that it's just not productive to read the replies. Like, it doesn't. It's dead internet theory. Everything is fucking. Everything is just a bot. You shouldn't be spending a good deal of time just dealing with fucking bots on the internet. It's a waste of time. It'll fuck your day up. It'll fuck your life up. I mean, I talked about this ironically on the Breakfast Club as well. Yeah. Here, this is me. I'm self-aware of my Twitter addiction.
Every time I go on Twitter, I'm angry. So I think every moment of the day that I waste on Twitter is a moment where I'm more angry than I was before I got on Twitter.
But I'm sure you're being targeted. I'm sure these algo bosses, these technologies, they're targeting your feed on purpose with things. You probably arguing with bots all day and don't even know.
Yeah, I know I am, and I still do it. Every time I go on Twitter, I'm angry. So I think every moment of the day that I waste on Twitter is a moment where I'm more angry than I was before I got on Twitter.
But I'm sure you're being targeted. I'm sure these.
I don't get why you're still on Twitter. Other people are on it. I think hosts have moved away from comments as a whole because in the last X years, everything has become political and people have realized it's pointless discourse. Yeah. Yeah. Hassan, you're getting crazy famous is crazy? I don't think so.
Real in its current formation.
Yeah, what was I gonna say? Oh, I mean, we can watch the Breakfast Club.
Social media. We're gonna talk to him next. So don't move. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.
I was saying, like, the walk up is crazy. It's like is this like a spirit tunnel situation? Like, are there gonna be producers waiting out there clapping as I? No. I can't do that. I'm too stiff for that sort of thing.
What's up, my brother? How are you, man? Welcome to you. You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I brought you guys gifts, but I don't think I have enough. But
three of us,
I got three.
That's three. Yeah, that's three.
I got Democratic Socialists in America.
I'm with it.
And you can dish it out.
Let me see.
Okay.
What's up?
Hassan.
Oh, they're jerseys? Oh, no.
We got jerseys. There's a running short. I mean, but these are small.
That's
like, I mean,
fit those.
yeah. And then a tank top. What? I just
Threw them in the bag.
Okay. You ready?
I am ready. As soon as everybody else is ready. You good? Here we go. Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, just hilarious. Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Lauren LaRose is here as well. We got a special guest in the building.
Yes, indeed.
Hassan Piker. Welcome.
It's good to be here.
How are you, man?
How you feeling?
I'm a little tired. I've been traveling quite a bit, even though they've stopped me from traveling to certain places, not to the UK. But yeah, I've been in New York for the week. I just did a DSA slate rally for all the New York City candidates last night.
What's that, Democratic Socialists of America?
Yeah. I brought you guys merch from them. I don't know if you want it. I mean, but
I don't like to label myself anything, but if I did label myself something, it would be a Democratic Socialist.
Really?
Yes, because I believe.
Told you. He just came in hot. He was like, yep, I'm a Democratic Socialist. I was like, what?
In capitalism, but I also believe that, we need to have social programs in place to take care of the least fortunate amongst us.
Okay, so you're like a social democrat.
That's what it would be like. Okay.
So so it's not the same thing. Democratic socialism and social democrats are different.
There are definitely some social Democrats in DSA as well, but they would be to the right of DSA. So they're the DSA right.
Okay.
For the most part. Yeah. I mean, it's
well, without
all
the
of this
directions.
Stuff,
just tell me what.
All of this stuff was considered radical to the average American politician. It's not so radical to the average American person, right? Because if you ask like regular folk, like, do you want free health care? They'd be like, yeah, that makes so much sense. If you were like, hey, should we stop bombing random countries and instead, I don't know, spend money on building schools here? Everyone would be like, yeah, no, that's a great idea. But in Washington, D.C., that's a radical concept. They're like, whoa, what are you talking about?
Well, for people that don't know who Hassan is, let's break down who he is. So you break down to people who've never heard of you, who's first time listening, first time watching you, who Hassan Piker is.
Yeah, I'm a Turkish-American political commentator. I grew up in Turkey my whole life, but I'm an American citizen. I was born here.
New Jersey,
I was born here
born and raised
in New Jersey. Well, not raised in New Jersey, but born in New Jersey, went back to Turkey, grew up in Turkey, and then came back for college. I went to University of Miami for a year and then graduated from Rutgers. And I started working for my uncle because just like every other 2013 graduate at the time, it was impossible to get a job. So I was doing a free internship, and then basically that turned into a very underpaid job. Yeah, that was the uncle nephew special for me.
Tell him who your uncle is.
Oh, it's Cenk Uygur, the Young Turks. Yeah, you know him.
That's my guy.
Yeah, that's how we made that connection to begin with. But yeah, so I started working there. I was doing ad sales initially, but I graduated with a political science and comms double major, dual degree. I'm probably one of the only people that actually puts both of those degrees to use. It's usually one of those things where you have those degrees and then you never end up using it. But I was fortunate enough. And I'm a political commentator. I broadcast live on Twitch every day, 7 days a week, 8 hours a day usually. I travel the world, and I work with political organizers and unions and politicians and candidates to try to move American politics further to the left, hopefully.
You also play some sports too, though, right?
I play basketball.
Yeah.
I play basketball, but not like, nothing at the organized level.
Did you intentionally avoid the democratic socialism versus social democracy distinction, or was it just a natural consequence of the conversation pace? No, I just didn't feel like I wanted to come in hot and then have the rest of the conversation be anchored around like the distinction between anti-capitalism versus social democrats that are capitalists, because that would have been a fucking boring conversation. I hadn't even introduced myself yet. It's called being normal, okay? It's a very healthy and very good experience for a lot of you to learn from, okay? And that's why I basically presented it as, look, like from my perspective, Zohran Mamdani's policy platform is social. Zohran Mamdani is a democratic socialist. His policy platform is social democracy. Same with Bernard Sanders, right? So for that reason, given that like the average person has a lot of appetite for this kind of politics, but the average politician clearly presents this as like some radical communism, I'm going to just bring that up rather than, talk about the academic differences, even though there are very significant differences.
I'm not very good.
You look athletic as well.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice of you to say.
Well, hold on before you do that.
Why you say it like you don't believe it?
I don't know. I mean, thank you.
It's
I don't
your
know.
build.
Yeah,
It's
you
like
look stocky like
yeah.
your football. But you also said that you were banned from some countries. For people that don't know, explain why you were
From the
banned, why you
UK.
said that.
Yeah, so recently, well, back in the day, I used to have like ops as like other Twitch streamers, content creators, drama, and now it's turned into governments. And obviously the number one government op that I have probably is Israel. They're not too fond of me. And then the American government is also apparently, allegedly, investigating me for doing a humanitarian aid mission to Cuba that I went on with the journalist visa as well. There's supposedly some subpoena that Fox News says I received. I never actually received the subpoena. And then now the UK has banned me and my uncle from traveling.
Just because of your criticism of Israel.
Yeah.
Wow.
So focusing on the UK, right? Because they said that you were you were blocked from going on the grounds that your presence in the UK may not be conducive to the public good.
Yeah.
What is
That's
happening
what they
with
said.
this
And it's a
audio?
very opaque structure where they just kind of make this decision and they don't even have to defend it. Now, obviously, the UK doesn't have the same expansive First Amendment protections that we have. They have, hate speech statutes and whatnot. Having said that, this is definitely an escalation, and that it became a much larger issue both in the UK and internationally, as a matter of fact, because like in the past, they had stopped Kanye West from traveling to the UK, and also Valentina Gomez, who's another American rabble-rouser. I mean, she was saying unbelievably hateful things, and also some far-right Polish ministers and numerous other people that were trying to go and participate in a race riot that Tommy Robinson was putting together. So this is the first time where the British government has decided to ban travel for objectively left people who obviously have not engaged in any sort of like bigoted or hateful speech. They try to present it as hate speech, but it's just Israel commentary.
So it's just you being critical of Bibi Netanyahu and the Israeli government.
Mm-hmm. And not just that. I mean, I talk about the ideology behind Zionism as a racist ideology as well. I think that's probably very frustrating for a lot of people to hear. But
could you explain that to me? Because I've seen you say that you're not anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
But you're anti-Zionist. I don't know the difference. I don't know what either. I don't know what.
So Zionism is like this intentionally vague concept, and at its inception, it is a political movement, a political ideology that sought a homeland for Jewish people. Sought a homeland for Jewish people they were testing out different places. Argentina was one of them as well. There were different parts of Africa that they were also seeking out. And then they landed on what is now known as Israel, landed on historic Palestine. And it was a settler colonial enterprise. And at its inception, it's pretty open about it as well. There's the formative thinkers, Jabotinsky and Theodore Herzl, very openly declared that this was a colonialist endeavor. And that's how they got a lot of support from other colonialist endeavors at the time as well, other colonialist powers, the Balfour Declaration with the British Kingdom and the like. And it's the ideology is basically the easiest to define by the statement that they define it by, developing Israel for a land without people, for a people without land. Now, of course, the problem is there were people on that land. There were Palestinians on that land, right? And therefore, it turned into this expansionist, endless conquest. And initially, a lot of Jews were very critical of it. There's a theological criticism of it as well. There's some Jews, like the Neturei Karta or some of the more fundamentalist Jewish sects that oppose the nation-state of Israel's development before the Messiah comes. They find that to be wrong from a religious perspective. Then there's also obviously a lot of anti-Zionist Jews as well who oppose it on the grounds that this is a fascist ideology and a settler colonial movement that is unbelievably destructive for all of the non-Jewish population in the region, for the Palestinians, for the Arabs, the Christians, the Muslims alike. That's the same principle that I hold as well. That's why I say I'm an anti-Zionist. And of course, I'm not anti-Semitic. Anti-Semitism is a heinous, bigoted ideology
And I've heard you say that all the time.
Yeah.
So why are you considered anti-Semitic?
Because there's no real argument against anti-Zionism, so you have to just kind of be like, oh, you're a hateful bigot. And it used to work. Like, this was a very successful way to completely silence all manner of dissent in the past. It just doesn't work anymore because, like, Israel's actions have been so transparent and so heinous since October 7 that many people in the Western world recognize it now as such. And that, I think that kickstarted the process of people also, like, diving a little bit deeper into the history of Israel and its development and its inception, all the way from the Nakba in 1947 or even prior to that. And it caused people to realize, like, oh, we just didn't know anything about this process at all. We didn't know anything about the way that this design looked like at all, or they were, misguided. They were taught differently about how Israel was developed.
Now, I noticed, following you, I see people criticize you a lot, right? They say that, you criticize capitalism, but they also say you make millions of dollars streaming. So what do you say to those people, those individuals?
Well, it's when I was broke, I also advocated for the poor. And at that point, they would be like, oh, you're jealous. You're jealous of the wealth. You just want to steal their wealth. And now I'm financially successful, and I say the exact same things. Now they say I'm a hypocrite. And the reality of the matter is it's not about my financial circumstances at all. It's just about what I'm saying. I think people have internalized this idea that you cannot, and it's not even just about like advocating for the poor, advocating for the working class. It's more so just about any kind of belief that a better future is possible. People look at that and there's deep cynicism and distrust. When they hear that, they go, there's got to be something here. He's selling me something. Meanwhile, on the other side of this equation, there are people who are selling you things. I feel like there are so many people who will just be like, I made it. I'm rich. I made the American dream happen for myself. And you can too, as long as you sign on to my course. For $65. If you go to my Discord server, I'll teach you all the tricks on how to be rich. And everyone, like, there are a lot of people who want that. There are a lot of people who demand that. They're desperate for it. And it's understandable that they're desperate for it because a lot of people are struggling financially. And I want to create a much better solution to this problem, because the problem is within the systems and not up to the individual.
That's why I want to hear more about being a democratic socialist, because to me, I thought being democratic socialist meant you want economic power just to shift from corporations to working class individuals. You want the wealthy to be taxed. You want market regulations. Like that's what I.
For sure. Yeah. That's definitely one form of it. Okay. And there's numerous different designs for how to move this economy in a more productive way. I like the way I put it is there's a lot of potential in this world, and I think we're squandering it. Right. There's a lot of potential in this world that is never unlocked because of which zip code someone was born into, or at the global level, which country someone was born into. If you're born on one side of a made-up boundary that we created, and you're being dominated by countries like America or even Israel in the circumstance, it's a lot harder for you to unlock your full potential. And I see that everywhere that I go, and it's very frustrating for me. So yeah, I want to make sure that there is this real material equality as a starting point that we offer to every single person, as long as we have that capacity, and we certainly do here in the United States of America. This is the wealthiest nation on earth, and yet 700,000 people sleep outside every night. Like, they don't have a house. I mean, that's crazy. That's a policy failure, right? And we can solve these problems, but the reason why we choose not to is the same exact reason why we have a surplus of food supply in the world, and yet 14 million people die every year due to famine-related diseases. It's a matter of logistics. It's a matter of profit. So I don't care about profit. I think it's ridiculous, and I think we need to scale that back dramatically in the interim, and then hopefully evolve away from our current design, our current understanding of who the economy is supposed to work for.
And how do you balance? I would say being an entertainer and also doing what you do, right? Because it has to be a line, right? There's 1,000,001 people online that's an activist, right? But some of them are not entertaining. So how do you balance that line to keep people coming in to make sure you spread your message of whatever the message is that you want to put out there?
Yeah, I think you have to be palatable. I think you can't just do academic jargon all the time. You have to have your interest.
I'm doing it right now, as a matter of fact. This is send to mom quality. I shall be making use of this interview, gang. Yeah. Not gonna lie, I watch you most days, and I love the Twitch interaction, but watching you lock the fuck in during an interview like this is aspirational. I mean, it's much easier when I don't have 30,000 chirpers in my ear. Because if I was having this conversation with Twitch chat, they'd be like, why aren't you immediately talking about how we must abolish capitalism? Like, that's what they would say. Why aren't you? You have betrayed the revolutionary cause. You must maintain the revolutionary cause. You must be immediately telling these people who are profoundly wealthy that they are the enemy, okay? That's what you should be doing. You should be telling them that they're the enemy of the working class and they will have their properties expropriated by the state.
And you know, sometimes you have to be bold too. And I feel like that's a real issue on the left, or has been an issue on the left. I think we're changing that right now. There's a real incredible crop of talent coming out of the New York City DSA slate. And I'm very excited to work with them and see where we go from here. But overall, I think for the longest time, especially in America, the idea was that if you're on the left, if you're progressive, you're a bit of a woke skull. Like, you can't have fun, right? You have to behave like almost like a hall monitor. And that's never how I've operated. And that's actually drawn some enmity from the left as well, where people will be like, oh, no, you're not supposed to say certain things. You're not supposed to joke about certain things. But I think it's fine. It's fine to be able to have fun while also consistently pushing for a better future. Because I think that's what the average person, that's where the average person is, right? Like, socialism is not a poverty cult. Socialism is not about taking a vow of abstinence or taking a vow to never enjoy anything. It's actually about making sure that everyone can enjoy things. Everyone can have some autonomy in their workplace, better time off, better conditions overall, and pursue whatever hobbies they want to pursue. Because what the hell is the point at the end of the day? Are we just on God's green earth to work every single day so that someone else can make money off of your labor, and then you get nothing in return, and the best you can hope for is like pay off your rent, and the only way that you can actually reach the last level is if you're someone like myself or someone people like yourselves as well, who have basically won the lottery, right? That's the way I describe it to people, where it's like, I have won the lottery and I continue to win the lottery every single day.
Do you get scared about that? Do you get nervous with some of the things that you do say? And we've seen this climate, or this political climate, this government climate, it's very nasty, very disgusting, very revengeful. People listen to every word that you say and want to take revenge on the things that you say. We've seen it with the president. We've seen it with countries banning you. Are you scared? Are you nervous? And what are you doing to make sure that something doesn't happen to you?
Well, as far as like, am I worried that someone is going to come after me?
Correct.
Someone's going to kirk me, is what you're saying, potentially.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
we breezed past that. That's on Netflix, bro.
Sure, that's always a concern, but that's always been a concern. I mean, I've been
seems worse recently.
Yeah, it's definitely gotten worse, but I mean, the worst aspect of it now is it's not just that, like, I'm getting random death threats or whatever from Nazis who are doxing me and my family, trying to swap me, but you got the New York Post coming up outside of my house with a drone, with an actual drone, Tel Aviv style, taking photos outside of my home. And putting that on blast on their website, and it's like, it's a joke, but it's become this reality where it's like, oh, have you offended the sensibilities of wealthy people, billionaires? Here's a photo outside of your house, just a reminder, you're not impossible to reach, and that's kind of the fear that they want to foment. But from my perspective, this is unfortunately a natural part of the process. I've been saying the same things for many, many years. The government never came after me like this. It's not like I changed anything. What changed is the environment. What changed is that people are actually a lot more receptive to this message now. So now it's all of a sudden a real threat. So that's always going to be a fear that I have, but I can't let fear guide me.
I saw an interview you did. It was at like an ICE protest, and you said that the government is targeting activists. You feel like that?
Oh, for sure. But the government's always targeting activists. Yeah. I mean, there's already tremendous suspicion around numerous key figures in Black Lives Matter protests, all the way from the Obama administration as well, that have all died by suicide. It's strange.
Why is the chat so slow? Did you get rated? Yeah. Well, no, I'm botting. I got rated and I'm botting. That's why the chat is so slow. Yeah. It's mostly bots. I think it's just you and probably like 8 other people in here, and they all hate me. And every other aspect of this is just like completely made up by WME, the Democratic National Convention, the DNC, and Israel is another big supporter of the bots to make it seem like I have a lot more popularity than I actually do. As a matter of fact, in the real world, most people they love whatever your politics is. And I suspect it's like very far right, you know what I mean? But it's not even far right. It's actually totally just normal politics, right? Apolitical politics, like purging all the migrants, right? Like abolishing women. Like that's what everyone believes, but they're too afraid to say it out loud. Warm water port. Okay. Oh, we have a hype train, by the way. If you want to carry the motherfucking flame, level 2, 4 minutes. Hype train, ladies and gentlemen. The nation of Qatar. Gift some subs.
Change phenomena, and obviously we know that there is a historic precedent for this. The American government. Yes, exactly. So that's always been the case, right?
We're at level 2 hype train. Subscribe to the Piker Broadcasting Service, the People's Broadcasting Service. If you don't subscribe, then we will not be carrying the flame. At level 10, we will be unlocking a new Charlie Kirk song today. You can also gift subs to others. Frankie, 5 fingers, thank you for the 5 gifted. Parky Park. Charles Moses Jones, thank you for the 5 gifted. And Parky Park. Holy moly, thank you for the 25 gifted. Anonymous, thank you for the 10. We are at level 5 hype train. At level 10, we're burning through it. At level 10, we unlock, for the People's Broadcasting Service, we unlock the carrying of the flame. People are gifting so slowly. Look at all these bots in the chat. This is such a receptive audience. This was such a great interview. I think everyone in the room is engaged and interested. Really great work. Yeah, it was great. Level 7 hype train. Holy moly. If we hit level 15 on the hype train, I'll carry the flame even harder than ever before.
And outside of that, I think there is a lot more apprehension of even like student protesters and whatnot nowadays. I mean, I believe Michigan restarted another case with the federal government for student activists. I believe it was 7 of them that are now being prosecuted by the federal government. I don't want to get the details wrong, but I looked into it because Kash Patel comes out and he's like talking about this thing as though they got Osama bin Laden. Basically, it turns out they filled up balloons with red paint and they were going to throw it at the houses of like the dean or something. A bunch of students, you know? I mean, this is like, it's not great, but you know, this is not, you haven't uncovered a grand conspiracy. There isn't anything, material here. These are people who are understandably frustrated about their school's lack of interest in hearing out the majority opinion on
level 7 hype train. Keep carrying the flame. Give
have direct
subs.
financial ties to the Israeli state and therefore the Israeli military, right? And understandably, students want to sever that in the same exact way that students demanded boycotts, divestments, and sanctions from apartheid South Africa, right? And you know, this has been done before. Of course, Israel was a big ally to apartheid South Africa at the time. As a matter of fact, they were spying on American students, Jewish students as well. Jewish anti-apartheid activists were being spied on. Black activists were being spied on by the ADL, the Apartheid Defense League, or the Anti-Defamation League. At the time in the 90s, there was a court case. And I think Israel learned a lot of lessons from the failures of apartheid South Africa. And, you know, and that's part of the reason why their apartheid has been far more resilient than the South African one.
Have you had conversations with, like, you know, Jonathan Greenblatt from the Anti-Defamation League?
I've been trying.
Okay.
I would love to. I mean, on the back end, I tried to make something happen, and he has been very resistant to it. Because, I mean, what conversation are we going to have? Damn.
That's
my
them.
backyard.
They
That's
coming.
what.
They coming for you.
That's how it goes.
I
Yeah.
mine just in case.
You're cooked.
You just never know.
You said what kind of conversation could you have? I think that it could be a conversation that could help people not see you as anti-Semitic. I think.
I
Because I hear you speak out against anti-Semitism often. That's why I say that.
I know. I think here's
Level
the
8
thing.
hype train.
I think Jonathan Greenblatt knows I'm not anti-Semitic. I think that's the reason why he's coming after me. I don't think it's a confusion.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why he's coming after me and not there's definitely some vicious anti-Semites out there right now, right? The reason why he's doing that is because none of those guys are going to convert his nieces and nephews. And that is a major problem, because I've spent
Convert them to what?
Anti-Zionism.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think that's a big problem for the Zionist lobby. It's a big problem for the multi-million-dollar advocacy network that exists in an effort to ensure that young American Jews feel a sense of connection to the state of Israel, even if they don't go there, even if they don't want to live there, even if they never will live there, they still feel like they have this association with the state of Israel and defend the state of Israel. And it's been fairly successful, these initiatives. I mean, it starts at like J School, camp, and
3 minutes remaining. Level 8 hype train.
Any kind of community organizing, because a lot of Jewish institutions.
We're close to carrying the flame, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, and MBs. Not every day do we carry the flame, but today at level 10, we will be able to carry the flame, and we are close to it. Support independent media, Piker Broadcasting Service. If you subscribe for $6 or for free with the Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, you can rewind the broadcast on a desktop. You can also send me links if you would like, with no guarantees that I will click on them. It's perfectly voluntary, but support independent media. Our hands will be warm on this beautiful day if we carry the fucking torch, we carry the goddamn flame, because we are, after all, Charlie Kirk. It is a time where carrying the flame is especially important, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be real, because I've heard rumbles of Erica Kirk letting go of the flame. Hospaz also got 433 likes. Oh my God, this meta is so real. Erica Kirk has filed to legally remove Kirk from her last name, which is not real, obviously. It's Hoopsgrave, but Hospaz says she's not carrying the flame. 430. Okay, this is our impact. This is our impact, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we have accomplished. That's crazy. The whole, they're not carrying the flame, we're carrying the flame shit. That meta. Level 9 hype train is complete on that note, ladies and gentlemen. We are at level 10. I have to pee so bad. But let's do. What is this? What the fuck is this, bro? Okay, no. This is too much. That's crazy. Give me something different. That's crazy. What the fuck, dude? Now it is too much? No, I want to carry the flame, but I want to carry it in a different way. That's crazy. We can't be carrying that kind of flame, dude. Give me another one. Charlie Kirkamani? Okay, that's also crazy, but I gotta pee real quick. Gotta be fascist, right? I suspect that this has gotta be fascist. It's also not in the spirit of the original We Are Charlie Kirk. This one actually captures the spirit, I'll be honest. This one carries the spirit a little bit better. That's what I'm talking about!
降服于父亲，守护他的家，以圣经为镜，信仰无惧怕。
She came over. She's like, I want to carry the dad. I want to carry the flame too, Dad. Hello.
我们是查理哥，火就在手中，为福音而战，荣耀主的名。我们是查理哥，勇气在心中，同心不屈。
Kai understands the lyrics because she's Chinese. From the Tibet prefecture. Bro, this meme is so old at this point, man. Move on. Take a day off.
上帝为统帅并肩向前进军，我们是查理哥，我就在手中，为福音而战，荣耀主的名，我们是查理哥。
I fell asleep listening to the stream. I woke up to this. Yeah, go back to sleep.
与主一同升起。
I haven't seen you this excited about music in a long time. Yes. Anyway, we're still carrying the motherfucking flame. You already know what it is. All right, let's get back into it. Breakfast Club.
Still, and this is, you know, what my members of my community have told me, like a sense of loss that they feel once they come out and tell their parents that they are opposing Israel. They no longer can participate in a lot of these community events because they get chastised.
Well, that's the question. Isn't there nuance to that though? Because I feel like should you oppose Israel or should you oppose the Israeli government?
Yeah, no,
because I feel like when you say oppose Israel, it's generalizing a whole community.
No, it's by design. I oppose Zionism as an ideology.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem with people living there. If they lived in a single solitary secular state, there would still be a lot of issues. I think there would probably be a lot. It would resemble the Reconstruction era here, but there'd be some growing pains. But at the end of the day, as long as everybody got equal say and equal rights and equal representation, as opposed to the current occupation structure that exists, then yeah, it's fine. It's a country just like any other country, and there's going to be problems there. Right now, Israel is exceptional in some ways, where it's not like any other country, and I think a lot of its defenders try to present it as such. Israel is not dissimilar to how countries were formed. You know, maybe maybe 100 years ago, or 200 years ago, or 300 years ago. But this kind of siege warfare in 2026 is obviously going to be deemed unacceptable by people who do believe in, you know, liberal values and humanitarian values, because we should oppose it. That's what we learned. We learned in school that this is unacceptable when you know, nations of the past did it. We're supposed to acknowledge that it was unacceptable when America did it. Now, the problem is some people don't want to acknowledge that, right? Because this is a settler colonial occupation as well in its inception. That's how America was started as well. The mass slaughter of the indigenous population and the continuation of chattel slavery after that. So it's taken a long time for America to try to heal some of these racial wounds, and let's be real,
it's not happening.
It's not exactly. It's not exactly a success story. Having said that, however, I think it's still probably better than the conditions in Gaza. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
So that's what I want to stop. And I think the reason why the Israeli society broadly has shifted so far to the right in a matter of decades is because of this ideology that guides Israelis.
This centrists are exhausting. This is why you make the big bucks and we watch. I wouldn't be able to bear it. Again, you have to be able to speak to the masses, to speak to the issues that the masses experience with the language that the masses understand. Okay? There's an opportunity for me here to not to use more radical language or something, but I'm intentionally not doing that. My convictions are very clear. They're still the same. It's not like I'm dialing back my worldview in any way, shape, or form. It's something that I have talked about over and over again, but I'm not getting hyper specific. I'm not getting lost in the minutia. It's something important for many of you to also understand.
It's Zionism, and which I, by the way, have no problems like equating to fascism, because it is a fascist ideology, and even make these comparisons to Nazi Germany, which is very frustrating for a lot of people. They say that's anti-Semitic.
Well, one thing that Giannis talks about in the book is he talks about how, you know, these algo bosses is what he calls them. They monetize our emotions, and the greatest currency in the cloud capital is conflict. So has outrage become a business model?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's always what has sold newspapers as well. But
if it bleeds, it leads.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, this is definitely. I mean, it's more dangerous than that, because we've never had, due to technological limitations, this level of involvement in what people feel about themselves and about others. Right? I mean, you can conduct a psychographic profile on a person down to the zip code, down to the house, and figure out, you know, what time of the day where they're more likely to order a McDonald's hamburger, and then you can adjust the pricing, as many of these apps are doing now, to make sure that if it's in rush hour, they are more likely to spend an extra $1 on a burger. So they do these. The prices are not fixed.
They do that for flights too. I see that certain times where people are looking to go on vacation or to have time off, the flights would be higher.
Even your
price.
cachet, like you clear out your cachet so that they don't know like which flights you're tracking,
Correct.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
I wonder, do they know? Is there a certain period of point in the day where people are the most angry? I'm not even joking. Like,
I'm sure.
I feel like
Yes.
creators are being rewarded for keeping people angry. These platforms are being rewarded for keeping people angry. Like, certain times of the day, you'll see something get thrown out there, and you'll spend all day arguing about it.
You learn that when you enter a newsroom. Not this is the time of the day they're angry, but like
I used to work at TMZ.
On the weekends, people don't want all of that. They want to have like conversations. They want to feel good. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
back to
heavy hitters. Yeah, like that's a thing that you learn.
Yeah. I mean, every time I go on Twitter, I'm angry. So I think every moment of the day that I waste on Twitter is a moment where I'm more angry than I was before I got on Twitter.
But I'm sure you're being targeted. I'm sure these algo bosses, these technologies, they're targeting your feed on purpose with things. You probably arguing with bots all day and don't even know.
Yeah, I know I am, and I still do it.
I was gonna say, because like, how do you rationale in the mix of all of this, right? Because your platform is so big, but there's also this whole business structure and model that people are like, I don't want to support, or I do support.
Yeah. I mean, I just know what I believe. I have a moral compass, and I abide by that, and I keep pushing regardless of whether people appreciate what I'm doing or not. And in my experience, most of the people that have developed a negative attitude about me or what I do have never actually encountered me without some kind of negative filter. And let's be real, I've pissed off a lot of very wealthy people, including Elon Musk. Now, sure, maybe I brought that on myself. I've had now 2 of his baby mamas on my stream, and his wonderful trans daughter, who is way cooler than he is. And I think that's probably frustrated him quite a bit. I know that has. But, you know, I oppose his position of power in general.
And one of them said that he straight up helped to steal the election or rig the election, right?
Yeah. Ashley St. Clair was talking about how like Elon was. I saw those text messages. Yeah, he was like he was implying that he might have done something. Like, I think there's definitely it's. I don't know if that's like proof enough. I think
it's nothing off limits when it comes to that. Like you said, you spoke to his baby moms on the stream. You had his trans daughter on the stream. Is nothing off limits when it comes to streaming or what you want to discuss or talk about?
They're talking about the state of the world.
I mean,
that's what I got from.
Well, some people don't talk, because you and Elon don't mess with each other. But some people will keep it into just me and Elon, or just the politics, or just the this. But when you have somebody's family on there, a daughter on there,
I mean, this is the most powerful person on the planet, right? The people that are close associates at some point in their lives are also become powerful by design, right? So I think it's good to develop a better understanding of this guy who has tremendous, like demigod-like powers, basically, over the American economy, over the global economy. A guy who's like, creating riots in places like the UK. It's happening right now. There's like anti-immigrant pogroms taking place in Belfast at this moment, and Elon Musk has been fully in support of that. People, masked thugs have been running around, roaming the streets, looking for black and brown homes and tossing Molotov cocktails into these houses. And Elon has been fully in support of that. And I know for a fact that Twitter has played a major role in that.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not just about like ruining your day because you saw something.
No matter what, Hassan, what is this? Fuck the algorithm I have when you shit it on Jank. No matter what, Hassan, I love you, but please don't fall for the system like Adam or other new up-and-comers. What are you talking about, dude? This person saw me on The Breakfast Club and immediately went, oh, that's it. You've gone mainstream.
Something on your For You page that really pissed you off. There are far worse existential consequences off of the algorithm hustlers that turn around and manipulate the way people feel about certain things. They egg it on. They lean into pre-existing social constructs that have been very powerful at motivating a lot of the masses and keeping the masses divided, really. I mean, white supremacy is one of these tools, right? And Elon hits that button all the time. And I think it's important to understand what his ideological journey looks like, and he's not going to come on my stream anytime soon and have a normal and honest conversation with me. So if there's any other way that I can develop a better understanding of the most powerful person on the planet and their background and what motivates them, then I'm going to take that opportunity.
Isn't your Twitch stream like one of the Twitch's biggest subscribed to? Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's big. It's definitely we got a pretty solid community. I wouldn't say I'm a kingmaker in the way that like people present it. If there is good harmony with candidates that have, the fundamentals, that have the policies that have a lifetime of advocacy work and organizing work or like experience that you can point to. An example of this that took place is in the Michigan Senate race right now. The primaries are going to be happening in August. Abdul El-Sayed is my guy, right? He's a Rhodes Scholar. He's a doctor. He's a stud, too. He can do 3 plates on the bench press. And I mean, that's besides the point, but I like that personally. And I've known of Abdul, and I've hung out with him. I've done fundraisers online, small dollar donations for my community for his campaign because he doesn't have any corporate PACs. He opposes corporate PAC money, and he's AIPAC has said that they're going to deploy $30 million in his race, right? Because he opposes America's relationship with Israel. He wants to reconsider our endless expansionist mindset in not only the Middle East but all around the world. He says we got to take this money away from these bombs and spend it on ourselves, spend it on healthcare. He's been an advocate for Medicare for All. He wrote a book about it, and he was in the Detroit Public Health Office. So he abolished 300,000 people's medical debt, and he's a wonderful person, right? But he wasn't getting a lot of attention initially in his race, and he reached out to me. He said, "Oh, let's do a campaign rally together." And I had already done stuff with him. I traveled to Dearborn, we worked out, played basketball, all this stuff. So I didn't really think about it. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the entirety of the right wing and also a lot of center-right forces in the Democratic Party started writing articles about the dangers of aligning with someone like myself. Abdul El-Sayed is now in first place. He was in third place when they were talking about that. Wow. And since that happened, there was like a month-long process where they were like, we should oppose Hassan Piker. He's bad. And his opponents, Mallory McMorrow, compared me to Nicholas Fuentes. Again, a white nationalist, neo-Nazi. Just the exact oppositional figure to my worldview, right?
Yeah, I've heard both rhetorics. I wouldn't put you in that category.
Yeah, it's disgusting, and people saw that for what it was, and this created a lot of trust for Abdul, because he did not stand down and he did not apologize for doing this, and he kept pushing through. And I think that earned him a lot of trust with Michiganders who saw that and were like, wait a minute, this guy's awesome. They saw his background, they saw his work, they saw his advocacy, they saw his policies, and they identified with it. And now he's in first place in the Democratic Party primaries.
I saw what you said. You said it just now. I'm not a kingmaker, and I was reading a political article, and it was saying how you had an up and down night on Tuesday as you look to convert your online influence into electoral wins for progressives. How do you continue to do that?
I mean, I'm still working on it. So last night I did a rally in Brooklyn for the New York City DSA slate. And I'm trying to be in as many places as I possibly can where there are, wonderful candidates that are running these insurgency races, and try to deploy my influence to the best of my ability in the direction of these candidates who deserve the shine, who deserve the support. And there are a lot of them. There are a lot of them that even go unnoticed. I mean, Summer Lee's a great example from Pittsburgh. One of my favorite congresspersons.
I love Summer Lee.
She's brilliant.
I don't know her
bold.
personally. I just see her on social media.
Oh, you should have her on too.
I want to.
I'll connect you. She's bold. She's brave. She stands by her principles, and she never gets the media attention that she deserves. And sometimes I think it might be by design. I mean, she's also a black woman, so I think that probably plays a role in that for sure. I mean, Ayanna Pressley again. Great.
Love Ayanna too.
Yeah, great congressperson. Like, there are a lot of fighters out there, and I don't know if it's if they're being deliberately kept out of the spotlight to not show an alternative, and that they have to like fight through that, because we know what happens when someone does break through that machine. Zohran Mamdani is a great example of this, right?
I think they're too busy doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and you have to make Ayanna please come to the show. You know what I mean? Like you have to force them to almost do me.
You're 100% right. This is literally a conversation that I had with some candidates at times. I'm like, come on, you have to play the game a little bit. And they think it's like, it's not necessary. But all these demons are doing it.
Word.
You got to do it too a little bit.
Before you get out of here, what is your Dude Bro project?
My Dude Bro project?
That's what it's called? I think I saw that. Dude, you have a project called Dude Bro or something?
Isn't it like a language, like I saw. Hold on.
It's something with me. I know you said Democrats have struggled with young men.
Oh, that's just something that they say I'm doing.
Yeah, it's like a way to.
Yeah, that's not my own. Like, it's not like a project or anything. That's
they compare you to Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
And then they say, but you're like the more like dude bro, like almost like frat guy version of Joe Rogan, right?
Yeah, that's what they say, and it's just because like
I thought that was
it's like they made it your movement basically.
Yeah, it's crazy because like I think that's literally just because I don't speak in the same academic way that normally people of my ideological background do, and I also like to lift weights and play. I play basketball and I hang out with like people who are other influencers and whatnot, and don't just talk about politics, even though I have been doing that quite a bit as of late this past year because the midterms are happening. But I think that's what it is, because the Democrats are just like, wow, you're woke, but you also work out. And that's not unique. Like, there's so many people like that out there.
That was such an internet thing to just say right now, you're woke.
Yeah.
You also work out.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. That like they find that to be a juxtaposition that they haven't seen before, I guess. But I mean, I do have a young male audience too, and I think that's probably part of the reason why. Look, I'll take it. Any kind of marketing, I'll take.
Hassan Piker, tell them where to follow you, man.
Yeah, I'm live on Twitch every day at Twitch. That's it. That was good. Hassan, this is you. Sure. I mean, he was woke. He's the king. He's a legend, Mr. Rogers. Yeah, that was a pretty good interview, I think. And I think it'll. This is the type of interview you can watch with your family, because like your parents probably know about the Breakfast Club. It's like it's a little bit more dialed back. Tonally, it's not as like aggro, and it was a relatively friendly interview overall. It is on Netflix
Breakfast Club's on Netflix. What is Sondpiker's Dude Bro project really about?
Corners.
Oh yeah, this might be it. Yeah, you're right. Stateside podcast. That's what they were probably referencing.
That I occupy in the internet. These space.
You started to touch on a good topic. Why good candidates can't get attention? Structural powers that be. Yeah, I mean, I think with Summer Lee, it is partially because she's a black woman, and I feel like our media is not very. Like, you have to fight for that attention. Our media is not very responsive to that. You have to fight for it. And I think some of the candidates that do get highlighted, some of the politicians that do get highlighted are they're playing ball, but they're also leaning into it. You know? So as a black woman, if you do get that media attention, you are going above and beyond usually. I mean, Jasmine Crockett is what I'm thinking about. And in that situation, like, she basically built that herself with her TikToks and with all that attention. And I think like it certainly hurts because Summer Lee isn't like a run-of-the-mill Democrat either. Where she is also they cut the last part where you started talking about terrorism insurance. Yeah, why did they cut the last part when you start talking about terrorism insurance? Yeah, I know. Wait, how did you guys know that they cut it? Where is the longer video? Maybe it's on the audio format, but yeah, I was talking about like any kind of media attention is good because I call it terrorism insurance. You talking about Summer Lee was a great note. Aunties love it when people know ball like that and aren't afraid to call out the bias instead of pretending it's an accident. Yeah. Full interviews on Netflix. They cut it on YouTube. Oh, okay. It was in the Netflix version this morning. Nice. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of people who are just like, oh, dude, you're fucking racist or whatever. It's like, no racist is aware of these sorts of problems. You know what I mean? Like, it's such an unbelievably stupid thing that people say, but I'm pretty sure like interviews like this also are pretty good at showing, you know, the full scope of my worldview, my ideology, and it causes, I think it directly contradicts like the other, you know, barrage, the barrage of fucking misinformation out there. Yeah. I mean, people call me racist. People call me fucking transphobic. Some people say I'm pro-Israel. You know, I got haters of all different varieties, man. It is what it is. Sometimes you just have to go directly to the source and figure it out on your own. I'm very confident in my worldview, and I'm also I also believe that, you know, people are smart enough to seek it out on their own. Yeah, Breakfast Club is insanely good at interviewing. I know. Yeah, they do a very good job of just like unlocking certain things. I saw a YouTube comment that said your family controls over 200 properties in LA today. I know. Dude, I am everything, okay? I'm a landlord. I'm a trillionaire. I'm a billionaire. My family's a billionaire. I'm everything. I'm owned by Israel. I'm a radical terrorist. I'm a communist. I'm a capitalist. I'm everything. And at a certain point, you have to realize, like, no, they're just trying to fucking flood the market, dude. They're trying to flood the market with, like, whatever sticks. It's just, it is what it is. But bro, some of my haters are trying to be like, I was on the fucking Epstein flights, dude. What are you talking about? They'll use a conversation that I'm having where I'm talking about how I broke up with one of my exes because she went to a Diddy party to be like, he was a Diddy affiliate. It's like, but the video itself contradicts the thing you're saying. Like, the new meta was, I was talking about the tickets that we got, right? And how expensive they were and whatnot. And I was joking about being fucking washed and not being mentioned by Madison Square Garden as one of the celebrities at the fucking, at the event. And KFC Barstool was like, this fucking rich commie socialist piece of shit is complaining about the fucking expensive tickets that he bought, this fucking animal. And it's like, dog, the video that you're using as a reference point doesn't say any of those things. The new meta is that you don't read books. Oh my God, that's awesome. Yes, famously.
How to Graham Plattner.
Apparently, no, not PFD commentator. It was KFC from Barstool. Every day there's a new hate Hassan meta, new lies, new smear campaign. Yeah. These have been the rules of political attention. The libs are just now catching on. Yeah. With your contacts and good connections in New York DSA, do you know how they're feeling about the slate they've run this time? I'm a little worried about New York 13 Daria Lisa. No, we're going to keep pushing for Daria Lisa. She's going after a very powerful incumbent, but I think she has a great shot. And therefore, we have to keep pushing. We have to go out and phone bank for her. We have to go out and door knock for her. We have to go out and fundraise for her. We have to do that. I Show Speed was interviewed by Israeli TV. Wait, what the fuck? Ain't no fucking way. Do they even know what he's about? That's crazy. I bet he didn't. He had no idea, I assume. All right, so what? They talk about me in this, you said? Chris Hayes, Hasanabi head versus Hasanabi head right here. Ezra Klein, two Hasanabi heads having friendly banter. Where is it? 1 hour and 6?
They've maybe cut them out of their lives. Right. And that is not John Ossoff's world.
That's what I mean. So he's formed fully in an environment in which the appeal of Trump and Trump's power over the electorate and Trump's power over specific people that he has to win over or whose family members he has to win over is present from the beginning. And I think there's something really useful and powerful about that for just, again, how you train.
But if you look at polling, and if you particularly now look at the prediction markets, polling, Kamala Harris has a lead.
I don't think this is the spot. I think you guys gave me the wrong timestamp. Yeah, this is just how long the whole thing is. And no, I can't look at the transcript because there's no transcript here, okay? What are they talking? I heard that they, Joe Rogan?
Actually by...
Yeah, and I was tool. This back, I think,
Oracle feel harbors a great anger at the Democratic establishment. You know, he's a state representative.
Yep.
And I think...
What is your opinion on Chris Hayes' ideology? He's a Hasanabi head. Chris Hayes is. Your parent-friendly content is much appreciated, Unc. I can show this to my Desi Muslim parents without fear that they'll faint after you talk in detail about how you're fucking a Chatter's mom. True. YouTube link with the transcript. Yeah, so Ezra Klein, the #1 defender of the worst anti-Semite in America, me, had a conversation with a conversation with the other Hasanabi head on MSNBC. Maybe they talk about it here. Michigan primary.
Right, you remember the Gavin Newsom thing a couple months ago where he's doing a book talk and he's like, I'm just like you to a mostly black audience.
I'm like you. I'm no better than you. You know, I'm a 960 SAT guy.
It's like, my SAT sucked and I can barely read.
I can barely read, yeah.
And, like, it looked really bad. It was everywhere for a couple days.
But then you just go do something else.
He just
That's
keeps
right.
moving forward.
So, partly, though, I think all of these calculations about risk, reward, control, lack of control, how much you're going in is what your own personal position is with respect to attention, right? Because she is so commanding of it. She has the luxury to take much more sort of conservative stances about what press she does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, by the way, I can't believe I'm going to say this again, but as I defended him at the time, the Gavin Newsom thing was total clip job. It was a total clip show where they absolutely clipped him out of context and made it seem like he was saying something that he wasn't actually saying at all. They made it seem like he was, saying like, oh, black people are stupid and I'm stupid like the black people. Like, that was bullshit. That's bullshit. It's his like everyman shtick that he's been doing in front of every crowd. Okay. All right. We got the timestamp. It's fine.
Dude
Thank
who
you.
was a public health official in Detroit. He's a Rhodes Scholar.
MD, PhD,
incredibly credentialed.
Has run statewide and lost for governor.
Exactly. But is very, very charismatic, extremely bright too.
Had a crooked media podcast.
I don't know if you've I've spoken to him at length.
Yeah.
He's an incredibly impressive dude.
Yeah,
just
incredibly
in terms
smart
of like
guy.
he's a really smart guy who knows a lot of stuff.
Yeah, Ta-Nehisi
you have
wrote
Senator
another banger.
Mallory
I read
McMorrow,
this.
who has been kind of like I would say like a charismatic up and comer in national politics, even when she was a relatively obscure state rep.
Yeah, starting with this big speech she gave after being accused of being a groomer.
Yes.
So I want to be very clear right now. Call me whatever you want. I hope you brought in a few dollars. I hope it made you sleep good last night. I know who I am. I know what faith and service means and what it calls for in this moment. We will not let hate win.
But she also has good video content.
Yeah, she's very charismatic.
You know, like a year ago, if I were doing this, I'd be like Mallory McMorrow, like one of the big attentional, emergent attentional stars.
And then you have the person who I think there's reporting to indicate that I think, and it's probably true, that Haley Stevens, who's a sitting congresswoman, who is, I think, probably the establishment choice to the
it seems like
he
she was recruited by the establishment in part.
And what's happened is she has not taken off. And she's not, of the three candidates, whatever you think about Haley Stevens' issue positions, her qualifications, whether she'd be a good senator, like I think she's the least attentionally gifted of the three. And I think the polling indicates that right now, Abdul El-Sayed is probably in the lead. He's gotten a huge amount of benefit from the Bernie fact.
You know Ezra's like, but she's so great. Mallory McMorrow, she's exactly what we're looking for. Okay. Look, it's just, she got no swag. So obviously for the New York Times op-ed guys, she's the best. Yeah, we're going to talk about Abdul El-Sayed's new ad that came out. I think they booked it with Fight Agency. They made a banger ad. It just shows perfectly what Abdul's about.
Of the party, streamer Hassan Piker, who came and did a rally with him, which was both controversial but got a ton of attention. And in a first past the post primary split field, what do you have to get? You got to get 30%, 35% of the vote, 38% of the vote.
So I want to talk about this primary because first, in one way, Abdul El-Sayed is like the opposite candidate from Graham Plattner, right? He is attentionally capable, but he is not a outside the institution, right? Like, he's a guy he taught at Columbia.
A Rhodes Scholar. He's like the ultimate brass ring of credentialing in the American meritocracy is worn on his hand.
Yes. He has run before and lost. When people talk about candidates who wanted to be in public office for a very...
Bring it down, bro. Stop bringing that up. It's fine, bro. Sure, he did a gubernatorial run and it didn't work out. Why are you bringing that up? That's old news, man. That's old news. That's old news. We got new news now. Goddamn. Ezra. Rude.
Long time. He is one of those candidates. And if you look at the polling in this race, you look at Polymarket or Kalshi in this race, you can see that he did not walk in and start dominating it. What happened was that he started centering Israel and Gaza. Hassan Piker coming was part of this. And the role Piker played in this, to me, when the way at least I observed it happening, is not that it was Piker's endorsement or something that mattered. It's that Piker himself was so controversial that outside groups like Third Way and then the other two candidates attacked.
Yep.
And in attacking, they centered Israel and Gaza, which turned Israel and Gaza is like an attentional superconductor.
Yes, it is.
Right? It is like no other issue, with the exception maybe of Donald Trump himself in American life. And for an engaged Democratic primary electorate, Abdul El-Sayed is more on the right side of that issue.
Yes.
And so I think you're saying something that's going to be very important about attention. It's like there are certain issues in any moment. Like his background, the way I came to know him as a political figure is Medicare for All.
Yeah.
Right. He emerges in politics, Bernie Sanders guy.
You should really talk to Ezra. I do, privately. But I keep telling him, have me on, King. Have me on. It'll be a great conversation. It'll be very interesting. It'll be robust. We'll talk about abundism, We'll talk about my favorite subject, the most abundant country on the planet, China. It's true. There is no country more abundant in principle and in practice than the People's Republic of China. Okay? It's 100% true. They do it right, though. Charlie Kirk was doing debate the right way. The People's Republic of China is doing abundism the right way. Okay? Literally. Talk to him about degrowth. He'll lose his mind. I mean, I'm also Mr. Consumption. Speaking of talking about degrowth, next time I go to Japan, I will actually talk to the man, the myth, the legend himself, the OG, on degrowth. I've reached out to him. He's actually talked about me on Japanese Twitter a little bit. I'm, of course, referencing Kohei Saito. No, not Kojima, guys. No, I'm talking about Kohei Saito, the famous the Japanese Marxist academic who wrote the book on degrowth from a Marxist framework. Not Hideo Kojima Sensei, who is probably never going to hang out with me. Let's be real.
And like his whole thing is Medicare for all, and like he still believes in that. And like
from a public health,
right, from a public health
care,
perspective.
yeah.
But what has happened here is that there like a lot of attention on Israel and Gaza, and it has become like the defining issue. And Michigan, obviously, very big Arab population, right? So,
and also the Haley Stevens component of this, right?
Yes,
because I mean,
we
we should give the backstory here, which is that Haley Stevens primaried Andy Levin. Andy Levin was this, labor organizer and very kind of two-state solution, Israel critical, Jewish, lefty
synagogue
president, who had like a ton of AIPAC money dumped on his head.
Yeah.
Because he was insufficiently loyal to essentially the Netanyahu line, and Stevens knocked him off as part of that effort. And the other thing I would say is, and I think this is incredibly dangerous for the folks who spend their time worrying about America's relationship to Israel and defense of Israel. You have a situation in which you have kind of stacked these different things atop each other, where it's like money and politics, the establishment, the failed status quo, the pro-Israel lobby are all stacked atop each other and very hard to disentangle. And so being the populist insurgent against the status quo, your criticism of Israel, your criticism of the war on Gaza, your views on that puts you across these incredibly salient divides that sort of reach up and down from the actual issue of Gaza. And
I wrote
and
a piece on this when all the attacks were centering on Piker. And one of the points of that piece was that it is going to be very, very, very important to break the effort to conflate anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism. And it is.
I don't like how the Michigan race is reduced to Israel because Mallory is anti-Medicare for all, which to me seems a much more important issue for most Michiganders. I mean, look, everything is downstream of this issue. That's why it's such a good litmus test, because Israel is not just about the destruction of Palestinians and where you stand on that. It's about whether or not you have the courage to show your moral conviction on an issue, okay? Whether or not you are willing to fight against powerful forces, because let's be real, although in mass politics, Israel has fallen out of favor in spectacular fashion, they still punish the fuck out of you. I mean, look at me. Look at the shit that I have to deal with every fucking day of the week. It's very clear. You say something about Israel and you're a prominent figure in media, they will make your life a living fucking hell, right? It's not like they're not shy about it either. It's actually a part of the process, like where they're very bold about it. They'll blast you. They'll fucking send a drone to your house to take aerial footage of the front of your home and put it on an article in Rupert Murdoch's newspapers, where they'll call you a fucking pervert. They'll be like, he's fucking and that's bad. He has had sex and that's a bad thing. You guys should think that that's a bad thing. They took a photo of my house with a fucking drone and said he masturbates in this house. Who do they do that for? I mean, think about that. They'll send fucking paparazzi outside your house and be like, well, he has a dog walker. It's unacceptable. Now, that's what I mean. It's like, that's what I fucking mean. It's obvious. It's obvious that there is there's a lot of influential institutions that will very openly try to tarnish your reputation, get in your head, punish you for demonstrating that moral conviction. Do you understand? And other politicians see that and they're fearful of it. They try to navigate in this space without too much friction. And that's why it's not just about Israel, but it's about your responsiveness. Okay? It's not just about Israel. It's about whether or not you have moral courage, moral conviction. Whether you're willing to withstand a barrage of attacks. Do you understand? Because if someone is willing to say the truth about what Israel is doing, regardless of what the social costs are, then they're absolutely willing to fight for Medicare for all as well. Then they're absolutely willing to say no to corporate funds. They're willing to put the people first rather than corporate interest first. That's how it works. That's why it's a great litmus test. So the issue on Israel is not just about Israel, even though that is an important issue. It's a very important issue, a genocide. It's the crime of all crimes. See any criticism you talk about with Israel or dealt with facts or flip side on lies and deceiving of the truth? Yeah, it's just, you say something about Israel, you say you don't fuck with Israel, it's over. You're a prominent critic of Israel, they'll literally lie about you nonstop. They'll deploy bots your way. They'll fucking spend every waking moment like an obsessed hysteric trying to tarnish your reputation. I mean, look at Nicholas Kristof. Nicholas Kristof is a Pulitzer Prize winning New York Times reporter. He wrote an article on Israel in the paper of record, the Gray Lady, the New York Times. He wrote an article that was unbelievably well sourced about issues that we've talked about quite a bit, about sexual violence, systematic sexual violence deployed against Palestinians from the Israeli occupying forces all the way down to the settlers themselves. And now the New York Times is investigating his financial disclosures. They'll always punish you. At a certain point, you have to understand, okay, this is not happening because of some sincere demand for accountability. It's just it's a blunt force object. It's a multifaceted approach to besmirch prominent critics of Israel who have done the right thing and have decided to say the truth. They make it as costly as possible. Yeah. So there is a penalty for it. There is obviously a penalty for it. Look at Ta-Nehisi Coates. He went from a beloved author, Obama's favorite journalist, to now being attacked endlessly for the crime of recognizing the truth about what Israel was doing to the Palestinians. I think it's because of the fact that you're streaming 8 hours a day that these outlets don't seem to be able to fully get away with slandering you. Is that a reason why you put the emphasis on streaming so consistently to reframe the narrative? I mean, the reason why I stream all the time is not because I'm trying to combat the lies that people are telling about me. It's because there are a lot of issues and they need to be discussed. They need to be reinforced. There's a lot of people that need to be defended, and someone's got to do it. I just happen to have certain qualities that work very well in this space. I'm unbelievably stubborn. I have my convictions, and I wear it proudly. And I don't mind doing this every single day. I don't mind having this be my whole life. This is my whole life, and I enjoy it, and I'm very fortunate that I was able to find exactly the appropriate avenue to get this message across to as many people as possible, and I'm eternally grateful for it. You know, people will say, "Oh, it's because you're fucking making so much money, and you're making so much money." It's like, dude, I could fucking make first of all, I could make a fuck ton more money if I didn't say the things I'm saying. If I just moderated my worldview and be endlessly more viewed endlessly more favorably by the masses, by mainstream media, not the masses necessarily, but by mainstream media. Okay. And even outside of that, even if I wanted to do this exact thing, I could do it fucking 3 hours a day. You know? It's very stupid. Weird flex, but okay. I mean, it's true. It's just true. It's not even a flex. As you guys know, I don't run ads. It's just voluntary subscriptions. That's what keeps this entire thing running. Voluntary subscriptions, Twitch Primes that are free, and that's it. I don't fucking run ads. I don't take sponsorships. I say no very famously to major sponsorships, right? Like Van Jones got $100 million, no questions asked, by Jeff Bezos. No billionaire is giving someone $100 billion for saying the truth. Anyway, can you pinpoint where McMurrow pivoted to attacking Al Sayed? I said hard to tell. And then immediately look at the fucking replies. Oh my God, every single time. All right. All right, let's move on to the MOU. But before we do that, let's do something fun. I'll just show you the new Abdul El Sayed ad that just came out. Go give money to his campaign if you have any money, by the way, so that they can blast this on every television they possibly can.
There is a man from Michigan
who knows how great we once were
and how great we can be again.
Abdul El Sayed grew up as Michigan as you get.
Parents worked the auto industry, football, U of M, became a doctor to help people.
Michigan has the opportunity to send Abdul to the United States Senate.
He rebuilt the health department after the politicians tore it down.
Got rid of millions of dollars of medical debt.
Got thousands of glasses for kids, including me.
Abdul is a doctor.
Abdul ain't no politician.
The only candidate who has the guts to take all of them on and represent the working class.
No. The only candidate who also can bench press 3 plates, dude. He can rep 3 plates for at least 3. That's on camera.
Corporate PAC money.
Medicare for all.
Abolish ICE. He took on Trump's war, and he'll fight to invest our money right here. That's the Abdul way, baby.
This campaign will take on the powerful with 3 simple ideas. Money out of politics, money in your pocket, and Medicare for all.
Let's make Abdul the next U.S. Senator from Michigan.
I'm Abdul El Sayed, son of Michigan, and I approve this message.
Don't worry about his name.
Yeah. Bro Branch is 315. Yep. He can 1v1 RFK. I mean, he cook RFK. And this poll supports him being the most electable. These accounts don't know how to measure electability, which is really what kind of support you can garner from voters. And that's solely based on issues. And Abdul is the one with the highest ceiling based on how voters agree with him, more on key mobilizing issues. Very strange to me to say that El Sayed is the more electorally risky than Stevens, but Stevens is god-awful and the worst of the Democratic Party. Surely the god-awful candidate is the riskier one. Yeah. Abdul El Sayed is not electorally risky at all. These guys are just simply saying that because they're used to saying that. Okay? They just say that about anybody who's pro-Medicare for all. They say that about anyone who's a left populist. At this point, it's a mantra. At this point, it's a chant that they keep repeating over and over again, maybe to convince themselves, right? As a Michigander, I have so much hope in this race. I've seen his signs popping up more and more, even in more affluent areas. Hell yeah. Yeah, meanwhile, let's see what Abdul's opposition is doing. Finally, someone actually recognizes and takes advantage of the fact that Bernie Sanders is the most popular elected official in the country.
There is a man.
It's also true. Let's see what the least popular politician in the country is doing. Now that we saw the most popular politician in the country,
A question on a couple of Senate races happening around the country. In Michigan, who are you supporting in the Democratic primary? And in Maine, do you remain confident that Graham Butler can win?
In Michigan, I'm supporting Haley Stevens. And in Maine, we are going to beat Susan Collins and take back the Senate.
Yep. I saw an Abdul sign on the front lawn of a farm in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, Republicanville, Michigan this weekend. Yeah, because he's out there, brother. He's outside. He gets out. He gets around. He goes to Republican enclaves. Okay? That's what you got to do. You got to be everywhere all at once. You got to get your message in front of these people, because the reality of the matter is the opposition is going to be spending, in Abdul's race especially, $30 million. AIPAC alone is dumping $30 million. Okay. Anyway, speaking of Abdul's workout tape, let's take a look at what. So now we saw Abdul is endorsed by Bernie, obviously, and then Haley Stevens, Michigander Haley Stevens, is endorsed by Chuck Schumer. Now let's take a look at Mallory McMorrow. And yes, I know, holy Toledo, the 300 Billy is real, okay? It's real. We're going to be talking about that in a second. Let's see what Mallory McMorrow is doing.
On this campaign, we talk a lot about fight. So we came to talk to the experts.
We're at Jabs Gym in Eastern Market, Detroit.
And tell me a little bit about it.
We are we're more than a gym, right? We're a cultural hub, okay? We are a Detroit staple for the past 11 years, since 2015. We are a community to help Detroiters get in better shape.
And I just want to see our leaders fighting for something substantive.
Yeah.
Some ideas, policies.
Not just against each other.
Advance,
yeah.
The condition of people.
Yeah.
We've just forgotten that.
I would say fighting for our rights, just human decency rights. We're missing that right now in the United States.
I think we've got to rally. I think people have to care, right? There's tons of distractions online. And when people go to the gas pump, and when people are saying inflation, it's impossible to buy homes.
I'm going to be honest. I'm not giving her advice. Never mind. I wasn't going to say anything. But this is substanceless for the most part. Okay? Substanceless.
That is a direct correlation to what's happening in Washington. And so I think a lot of people have to wake up. I think there's different pockets of folks locally and nationally who are not paying attention to what's happening. And because of that, they're rolling back the things that a lot of our Americans before us fought for.
And that's a wrap from Jabs Gym.
Anyway, so that was Mallory McCuomo. Speaking of Mallory McCuomo, here's 1 minute and 43 seconds of absolutely nothing of meaning being said, just a string of faux authenticity cliches. Let's take a look. Mallory McCuomo talking to Chris Murphy, who has endorsed her.
People give you power, they want to see you use it. Otherwise, they don't trust you.
It's just like I think Mallory in another race could be just like an inoffensive, slight, moderately progressive figure, right? But in this race, when you're matching up against Abdul El-Sayed, you're just not progressive enough. Like, that's a real fucking fighter. So, no bite, just a cold glizzy wasted.
What I worry is that democracies die when the guys that are trying to kill the democracy are breaking norms and the opposition is holding fast to norms, right? We have to break norms too. Obviously, I'm so eagerly supporting you because I am confident that you're going to be one of these fighters, right? These people that understands the stakes and is going to be willing to throw punches when we need to. But you're in the middle of a Democratic primary. You're talking to a lot more Democrats than I am on a daily basis. Oh, yeah. And frankly, just regular citizens, because you're in the middle of a...
As a Michigander, I think she isn't the right candidate for the moment. Abdul's the man. I'm also salty they're wasting good national Coney Island. Fake royal joker. Yeah, I mean, she's just not. This literally is a candidate for a bygone era. Okay, it's sauceless, it's substanceless. It's like, oh, I'm progressive, but like not so much that there's any kick to it, right? And that in and of itself is not going to cut it.
Of a campaign, I mean, what do people want to see from the opposition? What do they feel is missing right now?
I mean, you hit it on the head. They want to see fighters, but the sense that I get, especially from a state like ours, where it is going to be razor thin in the general election, they want to see somebody that knows how to fight, and they want to see somebody that knows how to deliver. Because if we don't in our state, this is a state where you got to get shit done. People will not trust you if you don't.
Yep.
And we've seen this in a state where control of the governorship regularly goes back and forth between Democratic and Republican, control of the legislature and the state house flipped within 2 years. If people give you power, they want to see you use it. Otherwise, they don't trust you. And being able to organize and step up and tell people bluntly what the stakes are, what you're going to do for them, and don't lie to them.
I don't know what else to fucking say about that. This campaign feels like the consultants keep flipping a lever. Okay, Mallory, today you have to be the pragmatic progressive. Okay, that didn't work. Now you have to break norms. Viva la revolution. I mean, it just comes across as insincere. It comes across as insincere. Conservatives. Zohar Mamdani's bringing Sharia law to New York City. Also conservatives. Gender segregation in polite society, creating separate spaces for men and women, and clearly defined rules and boundaries when dealing with the opposite sex helps maintain order and reduce unwanted and uncomfortable interactions. Yes, this has always been the inherent hypocrisy in the conservative movement, which is that they claim to hate the fundamentalist aspects of brown countries when they want to do the exact same thing, or what they perceive brown countries are doing, but for white Christians. It's Al-Qaeda.
Christian Nationalist Society.
A butterfly.
Oh my God, fucking AI slop. I'm going to leave you with this for a second and go pee.
Sport.
My towel load is almost finished.
Mommy, can I have some juice?
Sure, honey.
Oh, the baby is crying. Shh, it's okay. I've got you.
It's so nice to be able to do my housework in the company of other women. And the children are all playing, so we can actually get stuff done. How are your chickens doing? Great. One of our hens' eggs have hatched. I guess you're going to need another coop soon. We can fit about 4 more, and my sister wants the others.
Hey, ladies, where you headed, pretty girls?
Hey, what's going on over here? Nothing. I was just saying hello.
They are wearing headscarves. This means they are married. Why are you saying hello to another man's wife? Just being friendly. That's against the rules here. Everyone knows this. You stay on the other side of the street. Okay, my mistake. I'm moving on. I'm writing you a citation. You get 1 warning. If it happens again, we're gonna tar and feather you.
Excuse me, hi.
Oh, hello.
I hope I'm not interrupting. I just saw you and wanted to introduce myself. I'm Alex. Would it be okay if I asked your father to get to know you?
Sure. Here is his business card.
What a game last night.
That interception was brutal. Their defense needs work.
Excuse me, miss. Come here. I need to talk to you.
Can I help you?
Street patrol.
What the fuck is this? Yo, I'm sorry. I'm going to get back to this, but before I do, I have a wonderful guest, Trita Parsi, to give you a little bit of fucking whiplash here. Okay? I'm having a convo with Trita himself right now. So we're going to go there instead of whatever this AI video is. Trita Parsi, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
These are interesting times. We don't have a lot of time with you today because you're unbelievably busy given what's taking place right now with this deal between the United States of America and Iran. But before we get into that, I want to ask, how are you doing? There were some conversations taking place about potentially taking away your green card and deporting you. Can you give us a little bit of update on what took place there and how you're feeling?
Sure. Thank you so much, Hassan. And I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about that and the support you and so many others have shown, Yeah, look, this is not fun in any way, shape, or form. I am used to, of course, for the last 20 years, the neocons try to cancel me and deplatform me, accuse me all kinds of false accusation. I'm an Iranian agent. I work for the IRGC, all kinds of crazy things that they thrown out to try to silence me. But this is definitely an escalation to try to go after someone's green card. But I think what happened, though, and it's very important to understand, the Free Press came out with this hit piece in which they claimed, based on one anonymous source, supposedly in the State Department, that there was an investigation of me. But within hours, the State Department itself came out and essentially denied that and said that they have no plans of deporting me. And what happened was that there was this public backlash, but also based on conversations we had with folks on the inside, there was a lot of pushback from inside the administration. And it appears, and this part of that I'm saying here is a little bit speculative because I don't have smoking gun evidence. I have some circumstantial evidence and data to support it, which is that there appears to have been some folks inside the State Department that were in favor of doing this. They had been under pressure from Laura Loomer for the last couple of weeks. She's been tweeting against me and trying to get me deported. And they thought that a hit piece from Free Press and Bari Weiss's outlet there would be helpful towards pushing the process inside the administration forward. But it seems like it completely backfired because instead there was this outcry against this and pushback from inside the administration itself. Now, I don't think that it's necessarily over. These guys are relentless. They want war. They're very much against the fact that at the Quincy Institute, we work to build bridges between the anti-war left and the anti-war right. And that we've been at least somewhat successful. Someone who's very much associated with the left, I go on Tucker, I go on Steve Bannon. So instead of them just being able to stop me from getting on, the left outlets, through Quincy, we've got access to the outlets on the right as well. And as a result, they escalated the matter to try to silence us, particularly now when it's so clear that this war is just such a dumb mistake. And it's that many of us who were criticizing it from the outset, even before it started, were right on this issue. So, these guys can't win an argument. They can't win a war. So what they do is try to silence you and do it that way. So the only difference, of course, is now they're escalating it further.
Well, if only they had listened to you and the Quincy Institute for Responsible Statecraft at any point of this quagmire before, especially before Operation Epstein's Fury started 809 days ago, we wouldn't be in this predicament right now. Obviously, we got to talk about that. There is a lot of back and forth taking place right now. But how are you feeling about this memorandum of understanding that is supposed to be signed in Geneva this Friday between the United States of America and the Islamic Republic, which will then open up the process to a 60-day ceasefire negotiation where there will be a cessation of hostilities and hopefully a permanent resolution to this extended conflict between the United States of America and Iran. Do you feel confident that this is going to happen? Can you give us some details on what we know so far of the memorandum of understanding? I believe right before this interview started, there were some Israeli sources that had actually leaked some of the details that confirm that the memorandum of understanding is actually not all that different from what the Iranian side was suggesting.
So I don't know if that's the case, and I would take some of the hardline Iranian media outlets with a grain of salt, and I would certainly take whatever the Israelis are leaking with a massive grain of salt, because they also have an interest against this. I do think that based on things I've heard, that a lot of the stuff that is now circulating in the Iranian media appears to be true. I don't know if it's 100%. What I think we can say is obviously there's going to be an opening of the strait. There's going to be a lifting of the blockade. There's going to be a release of some of Iran's funds, but it may be done in a way so that Trump can say that he didn't release it. Then the Iranians can still say that they got their money. There's going to be other things, such as an investment fund to reconstruct Iran. And I've seen that some messaging on the Democratic side, I can totally understand, obviously, that there would be a lot of criticism against this deal, because at the end of the day, Trump should never have started this war in the first place. What I'm a little bit worried about, that some Democrats will go so far and attack everything about this deal at a moment when the deal is still extremely fragile. And that the combination of them attacking it from the right, the neocons attacking it from the right, can end up causing the deal to derail. And then we're actually back at war. But there will be one significant difference. At that point, the war is no longer just Trump's war. It's also the Democrats' war because of the manner in which they rallied against a memorandum that could have put an end to it. And I think that would be a huge mistake for the Democrats to do. I think there's going to be plenty of good ways of criticizing the deal without necessarily doing it in the manner that I've seen some of the initial reactions being.
Yeah.
But there's and of course, the biggest threat is what the Israelis do. And they have plenty of opportunities, particularly mindful of the fact that the Iranians, I think, are dead serious about Lebanon. And that will make it very easy for the Israelis to try to derail this.
So some of the information that's coming out, and we will not know, we won't know what's real until the deal is signed, and obviously we won't know what's real until America actually enforces whatever red lines they might have as far as restraining Israel, for example. Some ships, according to the Iranian news agencies, Iranian ships have transited through the Strait of Hormuz unimpeded. So that obviously is a sign of progress. That means that the American blockade might have been lifted. There's some new reports from the Wall Street Journal. Alex Ward, the national security reporter, says the U.S. will allow Iran to immediately begin selling oil and fuel under the deal to end the war, offering Tehran an early financial incentive to wind down the conflict. The provision for waivers on sanctions on oil sales takes effect immediately upon signing the agreement. A senior U.S. official said even though Iran would get upfront sanctions relief for oil sales, sustained relief would be tied to Iran's performance, aka how it abides to the deal. So on the American side, it seems like they're dangling full-blown sanctions relief, as you and I had talked about, not just secondary sanctions like the ones that happened in the JCPOA for the European markets, but also primary sanctions relief as well, so that America could potentially, conduct some trade with Iran, which is a spectacular development. I'm perfectly in favor of this, and I do think that the Democrats should be speaking in favor of this as well. I've only seen Ro Khanna perform as a prominent Democrat in favor of peace rather than a continuation of conflict. But what do you think about the Israeli reaction thus far? I believe is the approval ratings for Donald Trump went from +16 to -23 in what seems to be an overnight change of attitude towards Donald Trump. They're very pissed off about Donald Trump now.
Yeah, look, the Israelis are having a public meltdown over this. This is undoubtedly a massive strategic defeat for Israel, if it holds, of course. And we have to also keep in mind, Obama got a deal. He got it through. He fought the fight. He got it. Nevertheless, it fell apart because the Israelis managed to convince Trump to walk out of it. At least that's what the Israeli narrative is. Netanyahu is on record saying, I'm the one who got Trump to leave the JCPOA. So I don't think the Israelis are going to give up. But look, they're having a massive meltdown because this is a major strategic defeat, particularly if primary sanctions are lifted. It will be much, much bigger than the JCPOA. And on top of that, of course, we should also know that part of the volume of the screech that you're seeing in Israeli media is also politically motivated, because this is everyone now trying to find a way to put a final nail in the coffin of Netanyahu's political career. He will go down owning this. And as a result, it will get rid of him. And then you'll have a bunch of other Netanyahus in Israel, because I frankly don't see a huge difference between them at this point. But nevertheless, that's part of the reason why the volume was also as high that it currently is on this issue.
Yeah. So the Iranian army has said that Israel has already violated the ceasefire in southern Lebanon 84 times since the U.S.-Iran deal was announced on Sunday, adding that the aggressors should expect a harsh response if the attacks continue. So this is obviously a major point. If the red line, well, not the red line necessarily, but if Iran's major demand here, as you and I have talked about over the course of the past couple of months, is the hardest one to accomplish, which is forcing America to restrain Israel, specifically in the Lebanese theater, but there's some talks that it might even extend to Syria and maybe even Gaza. but that is obviously up in the air. But if that is the biggest ask, and America does not restrain Israel, what do you think will take shape in this conflict? Do you feel as though Iran will try to reestablish military deterrence, especially as you and I have also talked about the fact that Donald Trump sees any kind of concession, even in interest in deal making from the Iranian side, as a sign of weakness that he will pounce on?
So look, I think the Iranians are dead serious about Lebanon, and I'll go in a little bit as to why that is the case. I suspect that up until Friday, they probably will not do anything, particularly if the Israelis don't strike Beirut. By Friday, the Israelis may strike Beirut, by the way. But Beirut is the red line at this point, I think, not Lebanon. After Friday, it may be Lebanon, or they will be transitioning towards the full set of Lebanon. And I don't think the Iranians are joking about that. I think they're dead serious about this. And the key reason is the Iranians are not just trying to restore their own deterrence. They have done so in their view. They're trying to extend it. And that extended deterrence is part of their forward defense. If the Israelis had managed to defeat Hezbollah in 2006, the Israelis would have attacked Iran back then. The deputy foreign defense minister of Israel put this very clearly to me. I ran into him at a conference during that war, and he said, look, Iran is just a prelude. Lebanon is just a prelude. Iran is the real goal, and it's the war there is inevitable. We just have to first defeat Hezbollah. But they didn't manage to do so. And as a result, the war never reached Iranian territory. By 2024-25, Assad fell. Hezbollah was not defeated, but significantly weakened. And we saw that the war went to Iran's own territory. And now the Iranians are saying from now on, after this, Iran's deterrence will no longer be on its own border. It's going to be a forward defense. And the reason why I think they're even willing to risk the deal with Trump over this issue is because they're trying to get a guarantee that they're not going to get attacked again. What's going to be the best guarantee? Having that forward defense in Lebanon that prevents the Israelis from doing so, or a promise of a deal with Trump? They're not going to trust the deal with Trump. They're going to trust their own deterrence. So if they're forced to choose, I think the likelihood is that they will choose the forward defense, and they were going to be very serious and going to attack Israel again. We're already seeing signs that Trump day by day is getting more and more annoyed with the Israelis. It's not just angry statements at this point. There's a strategy behind what he's saying right now. Look at some of the things he said today. He suddenly came out of nowhere and said that the Iranians are rational. They're pleasant to deal with. They're looking out for their own interests. You can dismiss this and saying like this, Trump says so many things.
It's huge.
Doesn't mean anything. It is massive.
Yeah.
Because for 25 years, the Israelis have, more than that actually, they have been marketing this narrative that says that Iran is irrational, it's ideological, and it is suicidal. If you accept these three premises, it means diplomacy won't work, deterrence will not work, and because of the fact that they're suicidal, you have no choice but to attack first.
Yeah.
Because their desire to die means that they're going to attack you at some point, regardless. So you have to attack them first. So if you want to drive a country towards a preventive war, this is the narrative you have to sell. And it's been very successful. The Mad Mullah image is very strong in Washington. Here comes Trump. It says, they're rational, pleasant to deal with. They're looking out for their own self-interest and building their country. What does that mean? They're not suicidal. He is destroying the premises that built up this Israeli narrative. And so this is more than just an angry phone call or pushing back a little bit. I'm not saying it's fixing everything in any way, shape, or form. I'm just trying to say that there's something significant about this. And I think it is an indication of the direction that he's going. It's insufficient, but it's very, very important.
Yeah, there's only one theocracy, I think, in the region that is belligerent and only understands force and restrains itself whenever they're matched up with sufficient military deterrence. And it's not Iran, it's actually Israel. However, I don't know. I mean, I do personally think it's a good sign because Trump used similar flowery language when referencing Ansar Allah when, Operation Prosperity Siege Guardian or whatever that was called was conducted and it failed. And Trump actually took the L on that, which I gave him credit for at the very least to cut a side deal with the Ansar Allah movement where he said they're very strong fighters and we really pummeled Yemen and it didn't do anything. So that does signal to me, at least judging by past performance, that like this deal might be close. But I still believe that Israel will do everything in its power to diminish this. Let me float this idea by you. There's some conversations at G7 right now that European partners might be involved in the demining operations, potentially in the transiting, or at least like play the role of Coast Guard in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran clearly sees the Strait of Hormuz as a part of which it is, Iranian waterways alongside Oman. They do not consider it to be international waters. They consider it to be their territory. and obviously it's both, right? But what I am fearful of is that when America, alongside maybe even French and British navies is going through the Strait of Hormuz, I worry that would be the most opportune time for Israel to broaden the conflict somehow and force an Iranian retaliation or response and force the hands of the European vassals to also join, regardless of the bilateral commitments that they may or may not have with Iran, which they've not been so open about. What do you think about that? Is it crazy conspiracies, or do you feel like
no? I mean, the first part of it, yeah, we should be very careful about one thing. The fact that Trump will fight back, I think, is a good sign. Again, it's not clear whether it's sufficient because at the end of the day, he's going to have to do so 24/7. This is not a halftime job. If he wants this deal, he's going to have to persistently and consistently fight back and push back against the Israelis. And the Israelis will push back. But it's not predetermined what will happen, in my view. It's very much based on what they end up doing, how they play their cards. So there is a chance that Trump comes out prevailing out of this. And I say this because I lived through this. A lot of people are saying there's no way Obama is going to defeat AIPAC on Capitol Hill. And he did. Now, of course, they came swinging back afterwards and got rid of his deal through Trump. But nevertheless, that fight, he did win it. And he fought it. Now, when it comes to some of the other things that you're mentioning, the Europeans are going to offer these things. I'm not so sure the Iranians are going to accept it. I'm just speculating on this. I have not any inside information whatsoever on this. But I find it unlikely that the Iranians will let the Europeans back into this. The Europeans are out. The Europeans are going to have to do a couple of things for the Iranians to agree to let them back in, and particularly giving them some sort of a role in all of this. The Iranian insistence is that the territorial waters, that the strait is partly Iranian territorial waters and partly Omani territorial waters. They're insisting that there is no international waters in between. They have not signed on to UNCLOS, the Law of the Sea Convention. Neither has the United States, incidentally. So even though the U.S. invokes it all the time, the U.S. itself has not signed or ratified it. So the legality of it, I think, is a little bit tricky, but I think the Iranians will rely on that and not allowing that to happen. Instead, they will try to demine it themselves. But the Europeans, I just have no scenario I can see them actively going into a war with Iran, particularly not after what happened. If the United States did not succeed militarily, what are the Europeans going to do? In fact, I think one of the things that came out of the statement that the E4 made, which is a new formulation, it used to be the E3, was that they said that they're willing to lift sanctions on Iran. I think they're a little bit late to the party, to be frank with you, because if Trump strikes this deal, he's going to lift a lot of sanctions. And without the American secondary sanctions and primary sanctions, a lot of the world is going to start trading with Iran. And the Europeans, the sanctions they have on Iran is not going to be leverage. It's going to be an obstacle that gets themselves into that market and trying to build, from their standpoint, it's going to be important to make sure, in particular, I think, that Iran doesn't drift further towards China and Russia.
Yeah. There's obviously that element there as well. What do you think about what has been the most surprising aspect of this deal for you? For me, it's the $300 billion fund. I saw the possible Reuters coverage on United Arab Emirates panic shipping $300 billion of released funds potentially to Iran a couple days prior. That could be this opaque funding structure that America might have set up. But the $300 billion fund is reparations, it seems. The Iran Phil Stewart, chief national security reporter, Reuters, says Iran deal includes $300 billion fund, more than half of which already committed. The new fund is a private investment vehicle, not a reconstruction or reparations program, and will not include any money, any government money or grants, the source said, adding that companies based in the U.S., the Gulf Arab states, Asia, South America, and Africa have agreed to commit financing. Investments pledged span energy, logistics, manufacturing, and transport, the source said. Is that surprising to you? How do you feel about that? Is this Trump finally getting getting away with it without, shipping pallets of cash to Iran?
Yeah. So look, the only surprise I have is that perhaps this is already part of the deal at this stage. This is something that I thought perhaps would come as part of the end of the memorandum rather at the beginning of it.
Yeah.
And I still am not clear exactly when it will be implemented. It would be completely wrong to look at this as charity. This is business opportunities for a lot of these different companies. They're looking to make money. Iran has suffered at least $300 billion of damages. So it will need to rebuild itself. This is one of those points, by the way, that I've seen that some Democrats are attacking. And I find it really problematic because this is not a scenario in which the US is giving American money to Iran or the US government. This is private entities, but more than anything else, if the regional states decide that they want to help rebuild Iran, they want to invest there because they've realized the isolation of Iran is not productive. It led to a war. It was disastrous. So they want to try economic integration as a way of preventing future wars, building those type of bridges. Same thing that happened in Europe after the Second World War, the Steel and Coal Union, and all of these different things that try to ensure that economic integration raised the cost of war and created a buffer against it. If the Europeans want to go in that direction, the GCC states and others want to go in that direction, how's that possibly bad for the US? If it means that it stabilizes the region, reduces the risk of war, if it means that the Iranian people who have suffered tremendously because of this war actually get reconstruction, and we're going to be against that because Trump is doing it, I think it's a betrayal of values. And I think perhaps talking points that have not been really thought through that well, because I think this is exactly the type of thing that is needed to make sure that the deal actually sticks. There was no such thing in the JCPOA, for instance.
Yeah. No, I think part of that is the Democrats are in a unique predicament now because Trump is actually doing something that is appropriate and good. And I think Democrats are used to Trump doing bad things all the time. And there are the midterms that are coming up, obviously. So they have to find this weird messaging maneuver where on the one hand, I think some of them who might even be in favor of a negotiated settlement of longstanding peace in the region have to still criticize Donald Trump. And in an effort to do so, they have to say, well, this sucks. You lost. Well, the reality of the matter is America did lose. America lost on the battlefield, a war of choice that they certainly did not need to take. And I think one of the best possible ways to get out of this, while still being critical of Donald Trump, is to probably highlight the commitments that Iran always had, longstanding commitments that they had through the JCPOA, which was which now looks to be even a much better diplomatic accomplishment in comparison to what Donald Trump has done, while simultaneously saying it's good that we're actually, getting other companies to release these sorts of funds to offer some semblance of reparation for, the children that our forces killed in Iran.
And listening to what Ro Khanna has said, for instance, he said, I was against this war. So how could I be against ending this war? Obviously, I'm going to be in favor of ending this war.
Yeah.
But you can still be against this war. You can still, in my view, say none of this was necessary if Trump had never walked out of the JCPOA in the first place. In fact, by now, we would probably have a much better situation in the region, et cetera, because we would have had time to build these bridges, the trust, et cetera.
Yeah.
So those are all valid points, but just don't put forward a critique that actually serves the interest of the neocons who want to push this back towards war, because that would be really foolish and for the Democrats to actually shoot themselves in the foot, because they will be co-owners of that future war if that is the direction that they go.
Yeah. And last point, because I know we got to let you go. One thing I will say is this, and I want to hear your perspective on it. There is a lot of talk about how, we've fought Israel's wars for decades. I think that's wrong. Obviously, Israel has always consulted or goaded America into going to war in Iraq as well. However, that was an American thing, right? That was an American crime. We should take ownership over that. But in this circumstance, there is a third party argument that we could be making about Israel's direct involvement and direct intervention. And I think that's also another way to openly say who is responsible, except I do fear that a lot of Democrats, both AIPAC funded and not, who are fearful of the Israeli lobby, will refuse to say that truth, that like none of this needed to happen with Iran. And that Israel has always been the spoiler in terms of diplomacy with Iran, and we should be charting a very different, a very different foreign policy in this region, one that is sovereign, one that puts the control back in the hands of the United States of America.
No, I think you're absolutely right, Hassan. I think that's the right message, and I would add one thing to it. I think the Democrats can also push Trump from the left instead of pushing him from the right and say, look, okay, you ended this war. You say this is a good thing. Okay, if that is the case, we want to see you defend this deal in the manner that is necessary to make sure that it survives. And that necessitates that you get really serious about stopping the Israelis. So if you want to criticize them or push them from that direction, rather than saying, oh, you're giving the Iranians $300 billion, or, just copying whatever the Republicans said to Obama in 2015. They never even read the deal. They were just automatically against it. And I think that was an irresponsible thing for the Republicans to do at the time. It would be equally irresponsible for the Democrats to do that today.
Yeah. Trita Parsi, thank you so much.
Thank you so much
Vice
for
President
having
of the
me.
Quincy Institute. Where can people find you? You have a Substack?
They should go to my Substack, which is tritaparsi.substack.com. They should go to Twitter, tparsi, or go to the Quincy Institute's website, which is quincyinst.org.
All right, Trita, thank you so much for coming
Thanks
on
so much for having me.
and giving
Appreciate
us
it.
some time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, that was Trita Parsi, everybody. One of my favorite guests. At this point, he's been on a million times. Obviously, we're going to be diving into the story of what actually is taking shape right now. Very interesting developments. I will say, Iran won this war. They did. I'm not going to go back to the AI slap right now, you fucking idiots. But there's also a drop site backed petition that you can sign to oppose the deportation of Trita Parsi. One thing I was going to say is, when you start talking about Israel like that, obviously, then their propaganda mouthpieces will demand your deportation. Their favorite congresspersons will demand your denaturalization and deportation. Randy Fine, I'm looking right at you. Obviously, these are some of the ways in which Israel wages this insane propaganda war. Bloomberg clip of Trump talking shit on Izzy is so wild. I mean, Iran won the war based on what metric? Great question, chatter. Welcome to the broadcast, by the way. I don't know if you're aware of this, but they're getting $300 billion in war reparations, and that doesn't, you don't get that if you've lost. So that's probably one reasonable metric of deciding who won the war and who lost it. But the other reason is because the Islamic Republic has maintained its sovereignty, and the war goals for the Amer-Israeli side, specifically Israel's side, which has been the obvious party that is the primary responsible party here, more so than even the United States of America, unlike our previous conflicts in the region. Their goal was to destroy Iran. Their goal was to piece up Iran, balkanize Iran, turn Iran into a failed state. And very clearly that did not happen. And therefore, Iran's goals were obviously the survival of the Islamic Republic, but also the maintenance of their sovereignty. And they were able to do that. They were willing to make tremendous concessions before Epic Fury started. And the Omanis actually even came all the way to the United States of America to deliver to the American audience the tremendous concessions that Iran was making in terms of denuclearization, disarmament. And yet, America and Israel utilized perfidy once again and attacked Iran. And that was 108 days ago. And since then, in the aftermath of that attack, Iran was able to not only defend its territorial homeland, but Iran was also able to gain additional leverage, tremendous leverage on the global stage by closing the Strait of Hormuz and controlling the ships that were transiting through the Strait of Hormuz. That is a victory for the Islamic Republic. And they fought very hard for that victory. They defeated the United States militarily. And this, for the record, might even be one of the greatest military losses for the United States of America. But, you know, I guess in that situation, at least we didn't spend $6-7 trillion over the course of 2 decades. And therefore, you know, it was swift. It was much faster. So that's good. So I will give credit to Donald Trump on that front. Now, obviously, this is not over. This is not over yet. We don't know exactly what will take place. Israel clearly still wants to destroy this deal, sully this deal, and it will, you know, pull off a litany of different tricks in the process. But this assessment is not just coming from me. Here is the U.S. intelligence agencies recently assessing that Iran can effectively turn the Strait of Hormuz on and off at will going forward, meaning it has acquired a powerful new ability to hurt the global economy as a result of the Trump and Israel starting the war. We have now handed Iran the de facto control over the Strait, a weapon more powerful than any nuke, one of the sources said. Now, what's interesting about this is that Iran always had this weapon. Iran always had this weapon. They just never used it because, perhaps foolishly, they thought that they could deal diplomatically with the Western world. It was us. It was our actions. It was our perfidy. It was our decapitation strike that forced their hand into deploying this weapon. And what's really interesting about this is that we knew that they always had this weapon. It's not new. It's literally not a real weapon. It's just a limitation of geography. It's 21 fucking miles wide. That's it. It happens to be on the Iranian coastline. That's it. That is the literal only reason why they always had this economic nuke, if you want to call it that. They just foolishly thought they don't ever have to use it. They don't ever have to harm the rest of the global markets. And it's not the only weapon that they have. They also have the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, which is the Red Sea. They have it by way of the Ansar Allah movement, the Houthis that control Yemen. So there is more in the tank for Iran. And yet America, goaded into this conflict by Israel, has seemingly considered none of this for some weird fucking reason. The intelligence community obviously considered it. They said, don't do this. The generals obviously considered it. They openly said to Trump, this will be devastating for American force projection capabilities. This will ruin the global economy. This will ruin the energy markets. Iran will gain leverage. We will expend all of our standoff munitions that we have created specifically for peer and near peer adversaries like Russia and China. Iran is a middle power. Iran is barely a regional power. What are we doing? We're just giving them all this leverage if we go and fucking wage war with them. And Donald Trump listened to none of that. He just listened to Benjamin Netanyahu. He saw his fucking stupid ass PowerPoints and he was goaded into it because Benjamin Netanyahu knows exactly what buttons to press with Donald Trump. He told him, it's going to be great. Look at how easy it was in Venezuela. It'll be just as easy, if not easier, with Iran. They're weakened. They're objectively a weakened country at this point. You've destroyed their economy with the sanctions. We have destroyed their resistance front in both the assassination of top leadership in Lebanon, the assassination of the Hezbollah leadership, and the Turkish-backed initiative in Syria that overthrew the Bashar al-Assad government in Syria, directly cutting off a logistical supply chain that was unbelievably important that connected by land Lebanon and Iran. But it turns out none of that matters. And none of that ever mattered because Iran has always had the ability to close the Strait of Hormuz. Iran always had the ability to light every oil refinery on fire. Do you understand? And I kept repeatedly explaining this over and over again. And there were so many dumb fuck naysayers who would turn around and be like, nah, bruh, you don't understand, gang. America's got the smoke. We have contingencies. We have contingencies. Where were those contingencies? When will you learn? When will you understand that you cannot outmaneuver geographical limitations? You cannot destroy a country that has taken advantage of his topography and built fortresses, bunkers that are impenetrable by bunker buster bombs with how they have developed their munitions facilities. They have missile silos deep underground. They have launchers deep underground. That's not how this goes. You can't just go, oh, we have the biggest bombs and we do the biggest booms and it'll be fine. Especially when your enemy, which shouldn't even be your fucking enemy at all, for the record, okay? But especially when the foreign adversary has recognized that this is a battle that is existential for them, okay? This happened in Vietnam, this happened in Afghanistan, and it happened in Iran. All they need to do is survive. All they need to do is wait it out. Son, how did the USA lose? We tried but came back from it, losing only a few people, testing our forces, but the only thing giving up is stuff that already belonged to them. Wait, what? That's an insane level of copium. America showed every single regional partner that they were not invested in their defense, that American military bases are not actually there to provide security for these countries, but instead are simply missile sponges. We've also burned $150 billion worth of munitions, assets, radar installations in the region that were left unguarded. Iran was able to pepper these installations with $10,000 lawnmowers that can fly, that have grenades strapped to them. It is unbelievable how bad of a fucking L this was for American force projection capabilities. Something that I have been warning about over and over again, that this is the decline of American empire. We're in it now. We are far too expansive. We are spread far too thin. Okay? It's clear. It has always been clear. And Iran was, I guess, goaded into, or rather pushed into, forced into showing the rest of the world that America actually didn't have, America had all the talk, but none of the fucking smoke to back it up. We deployed and wasted virtually all of our standoff munitions that are unbelievably costly to make, that take years to refill. America showed that it is a paper tiger. That's what America showed. It is a paper tiger. We panic shipped our THAAD missile launchers from Korea that were placed in Korea that cost the Korean economy billions of dollars of economic damage from China when they were initially sent there. We hurried them to the United Arab Emirates and we hurried them to Israel because we did not have sufficient defenses in Israel. We showed every country, not just in that region, not just in the MENA region, but all around the world, that American bases are simply just missile sponges. American bases will not protect you. As a matter of fact, American bases will put you in harm's way, will put your people in harm's way, will destroy your economy. When we decided to wage this war against Iran and Iran closed off the Strait of Hormuz, we didn't even tell Japan that we were going to fight against Iran. There were Japanese nationals on Iranian soil whose lives were put at risk. Japan relies heavily on the Strait of Hormuz for all of its energy needs, and so does the rest of the Asian markets. Now, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's accelerating the American demise, but at the end of the day, it's up to us to manage this decline. to make sure that we retreat in a reasonable manner, to make sure that we change our attitude in the way that we deal with the rest of the world. It's very clear. It's very clear that the American strategy of behaving like the world police, the American hegemonic superpower status, is now no longer even called into question. It's gone. It's over. Murtaza Hussein writes, the manner in which this has all been put on a platter for Trump to approve and with affirmations already attached suggests that the GCC quartet is guiding him to this. In 2015, the situation was quite different as the GCC states were opposed to engagement with Iran. The failure of the current war dispelled the lurking suspicion that the U.S. could just take out Iran and reveal the limits of its capacity, while also emphasizing the existential danger of the status quo. With these countries egging the situation along, they can just create new security architecture and isolate the few bad actors. The draft U.S.-Iran framework would see Tehran maintaining the status quo on its nuclear program, allow Iran to sell oil, and potentially trigger a full U.S. troop withdrawal and sanctions removal if a final deal is reached, Israel's Channel 12 reports. Do you understand? This also shows, ironically enough, you know how Donald Trump talks about Joe Biden's retreat from Afghanistan put America in a weak predicament, in a weak position, and that's the reason why Russia invaded Ukraine. Okay? I don't think those two things are linked to one another at all. But what I will say is this. Donald Trump's failure to destroy Iran and offer Iran this unambiguous victory. There is no way that you can cut it. And this was spelled out basically since the second week or the third week of Operation Epic Fury. There's no war that you wage against a foreign adversary that ends up gaining more leverage in the process that isn't lost. Okay? And here's the thing. Here's the thing. This is good. This is good for long-standing peace in the region. But this is very bad for the American military heads. Because if you think there is any fucking mustard in the tank to continue waging war and saber rattling against China, to use Taiwan as a prick on the side of the People's Republic of China, is gone. Okay? It's over. Anyone that continues to posture against China going forward like this is delusional and wants the complete destruction of America. Not just the end of American empire, but the complete destruction of the United States. Okay? It was already done. It was already done, but it is the most done it has ever been. I think you mean a thorn on the side, not prick, big bro. Paralyzed pendant plug. Holy moly. 50 big bones. Thank you. There's new JD clips from Megyn Kelly. Do we have the full ones? I want to watch the full. Yeah. Not Tia. Thank you for the 10 gifted. Give me the full one. Give me the full video. It's not even close, by the way. As far as like the leverage that America lost in the Asian theater is immense. Is immense. China's grand strategy has been to tip over the bus of American power by throwing everyone else under it. Column, Chinese oil weapon. The Strait of Hormuz crisis shows Beijing is now a stabilizing force for oil prices. This potentially reshapes the energy risk premia and Asian geopolitics if conflict breaks out over Taiwan. I don't think conflict is breaking out over Taiwan. I think if Americans are intelligent, which they're not known to be, but if they have any investment in the continuation of America as a nation,
How about Hezbollah?
they don't
and
even fucking do anything. They just try to normalize relations with China, and whatever happens, happens. I don't think China is going to, another Russia won't invade prediction. Buddy, I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you've been fucking paying attention for the past 108 days, but this is the broadcast where I fucking called it out like motherfucking Babe Ruth from a mile away. Okay? All of the people who have yelled at me for the Russia is not stupid enough to fucking invade Ukraine, people. They were all constantly, every step of the way saying, oh, America is going to punish Iran. America's going to punish Iran. What the fuck happened? What happened? Where are they at now? Where are they at now? Where are they at now? They kept saying, oh, Hassan, you support terrorism. You just don't want America to go wage war with Iran because you're worried that your fucking funders, the mullahs, the ayatollahs that fund your fucking broadcast are going to be killed in the process. They would come in here and be like, oh, flex mode. 87-year-old guy was assassinated alongside his family while tending to his fucking flowers. Beast mode. What do you have to say to that? What did I say? I said, sit and wait. Sit and fucking wait. How is that the pivotal American military achievement? This is the most powerful fucking nation on the planet. What happened? What happened? That was 108 days ago. Everyone was like, oh, well, look at us. They're going to find out why we don't have health care. Bitch, we still don't have health care. Maybe Iran can build a fucking more comprehensive nationalized healthcare system with the $300 billion that we're giving them, which they deserve, by the way. Just make no mistake. We should have never done any of this shit. What happened? This is what happens if your whole worldview is anchored around your resentment towards a fucking political analyst, a political commentator. You're a fucking idiot. Stop. If you're one of these people that consistently came in here, if you're one of these hate watchers, for example, if you consistently came here to be like, I oppose everything you say on the condition that you're saying it, and you found yourself so wrong about this assessment, so wrong about how things unfolded, ask yourself, should you trust the resources that you rely on? Iran already has a robust nationalized healthcare system with the best doctors. I know, I wanted to make a joke about healthcare. Anyway, sorry, pants pooper. Maybe that was a bit of a misfire for you, but Professor Jiang predicted it before you? Yeah, he also predicted that there would be fucking troops, boots on the ground, and that would lead to America's demise. And maybe it'll still happen, but it's certainly not happening in this bout of the conflict. Yeah, he also said 200,000 Saudi troops, brother. What happened there? He said 200,000 troops Saudi troops will be deployed alongside the American forces. So yeah, I mean, no disrespect to Professor Jiang. I'm a big fan, as you guys know, but he doesn't get everything right. Sometimes he's just tossing shit. He's just flinging stuff at the wall to see what sticks. Anyway, let's take a look at the ass-eating operation coming from Jedediah Vance over here, Jorkin the Peanuts Vance, who has to sit there and eat this entire ordeal.
Some of the reaction. Mark Thiessen said if the deal terms are accurate as has been leaked, it's a complete disaster. He's calling this, by the way, the Vance deal.
I wonder why he doesn't call it the Trump deal.
I wonder too. There is
drama. The girls are fighting. Who gets to hold the bag at the end? Who's the bag holder?
Dominich, who was on special report last night, called this a hillbilly Obama deal.
I wonder who that's a reference to.
Seems to be a shot at you, sir. Not bold foreign policy. There's a guy named Yanan Magal, who is an Israeli journalist who's very close with Netanyahu, who is basically his mouthpiece, who called you a lowlife, called Donald Trump a loser. The Israeli ambassador to the United States called this so disappointing. Then there's Mark Levin, who's been rage tweeting about it every 5 minutes. He demands to see the memorandum. He demands that this be treated like a treaty, to where now you have to get congressional approval for the MOU. The Constitution does say you need approval to declare war, which Trump doesn't think he did and didn't seek. But now, and he defended him on that. But now that we're ending it, which you definitely don't need congressional approval for, he wants this treated like a treaty and is demanding you go before Congress, sir.
Well, to be clear, I don't think that congressional approval was required. I really firmly do believe that. The president...
That is very funny. Mark, Trump doesn't need congressional approval to blow up Iran. But when it comes to stopping the blowing up of Iran, he certainly needs it. We must deploy all of the AIPAC forces to stop Trump from letting peace happen.
I'm going to give you a shot from Sound on Tape from John Podhoretz, who is the chief over at Commentary Magazine, which is very pro-Israel, very neocon-y. Preview, he's not happy. Here it is.
What is this voice? What do you mean, what is this voice? That's Mark Levin. That's what it's Master Shake.
I don't know if it could be worse. America is going to be in a strategically, tactically, and militarily worse position than it was under Biden. He made a choice to test America's resolve, and he has choked. He has chickened out. He has bled himself dry. Trump, the crazy lunatic psychotic who doesn't care about lives and will do anything and do anything, could not bear the idea of putting a boot on the ground anywhere in Iran, and could not bear the idea of a single American possibly being taken hostage, which I understand. I'm not saying that either of those is a good thing, but if you're going to go to war, you have to put boots on the ground. Everyone in the military has volunteered to put their lives on the line for their country, and that the country itself may have to sacrifice in the form of wildly higher oil prices. If you think that the American national interest has to be engaged in this process, and if you go into the process and you lose it, and it's a complete war of choice, you have made things worse. The situation is worse.
I mean, at least he fucking recognizes it. FDD boys are on suicide watch right now. FDD boys on suicide watch. They're out there literally they're out there looking at the fucking pharmaceutical cabinet like, how many pills can I swallow in one go? Okay? They're out there holding a fucking toaster next to their goddamn bathtubs being like, oh, I guess it's over. Why won't American troops be sent to die for Israel?
Thoughts on that?
Well, there's a lot to respond to in there, but I actually think, John, I appreciate that because John is kind of giving away the game. He's saying he really doesn't care that much about higher oil prices for Americans, doesn't care about high gas prices, and he wants boots on the ground
and
in a
doesn't
country.
seem to care about casualties.
Exactly, and wants boots on the ground and casualties in a country of 95 million people where, again, the President of the United States never said that his goal was to install Reza Pahlavi to become the new leader of Iran.
Look at how MAGA is defending this deal. Oh, let's see that. I like how the Trump diehards literally just reinvented Obama's pitch for the JCPOA, but made it slightly more racist. Bill Mitchell, you cannot deal with Iran as having integrity. Their own religion teaches them that lying to the infidel is good. So how do you deal with them? Carrots and sticks. In this case, we want them to give up their nukes, destroy the dust, etc. The carrot is that if they do, other Arab nations may help to rebuild their nation under U.S. guidance. No $300 billion or $25 billion in frozen assets up front. Everything is pay for performance. Meanwhile, every dollar that foreign nations invest in Iran creates an economic tether, weakening the regime's hold on the nation. Of course, the left and their media friends cannot understand this. They are linear thinkers while Trump thinks strategically. Oh my God, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. This is it's so good. The Democrats are thinking about the next news cycle. Trump is thinking about what will be good for the world in 10 years. Yeah, famously, Trump, the thinker. Trump the thinker. That's what he's good at. He's the best at thinking. And also, I mean, how can you read this as anything but utter vindication, complete and utter humiliation for the American side, for the Israeli side especially? I mean, it is an exceptional moment of humiliation for the Israeli side for sure, more so than even the American side, and a complete moment of vindication for the anti-Iran war people like ourselves.
Done. And that's the basic approach.
We would not turn on the spigot if Hezbollah hit Israel over and over?
Well, what I would say is...
Well, now, if Israel fucks around and then they find out, that's their thing. That's their thing. That's, there's a memorandum of understanding, Megan, that says Israel shouldn't do anything in Lebanon. Now, if they choose to do so, It's just, what are you going to do? 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 Now, I think they shouldn't do anything in Lebanon. But if they do and Hezbollah retaliates, well, what are you going to do?
Like, if Iran is funding Hezbollah, we're not going to allow a bunch of unfrozen assets to freeze to the.
Oh, really? Yeah, like Iran is not going to. Yeah, Iran is stopping the funding of Hezbollah. Okay.
Iranians, right? Now, I want to be clear about this, too, because those are not American assets. There's been a lot of misreporting on this, and people have said, oh, is the United States going to give Iran.
Yeah, what do you mean if, dude? It's like saying if Iran consistently funds the IRGC. If Iran keeps building ballistic munitions, we won't fucking lower the sanctions. Like, okay, dude, good luck.
Billions of dollars. No, it'll be very, very crystal clear. Even if the Iranians do everything contemplated by this deal, not a penny of American money flows to Iran.
Okay. Yeah. That's very funny. That's a very funny ass covering operation right there.
Of 95 million people, where again, the president of the United States never said that his goal was to install Reza Pahlavi to become the new leader of Iran. What he said is, if the Iranian people want to rise up, great. That's their business. That's between them and their government. What we want is a cessation of their nuclear program, either through diplomatic means or through military means, as he ultimately went down that pathway. Of 95 million people, where again, the president of the United States never said that his goal was to install Reza Pahlavi to become the new leader of Iran. What he said is, if the Iranian people want to rise up, great. That's their business. That's between them and their government. What we want is a cessation of their nuclear program, either through diplomatic means or through military means, as he ultimately went down that pathway. Of 95 million people.
Oh. JD lives in another reality? No, he's just trying to fucking liberally explain why this MOU is going through. Going forward, I mean, if they fucking sign this deal, it's over. I mean, the details that are being leaked are unfucking believable, dude. I mean, it's an exceptional deal for Iran. Yeah. The war was never really about defeating Iran, but about deterring China by demonstrating that the U.S. is both willing and able to use force when necessary. In that sense, it already won. Yes, China is absolutely deterred by the revelation that the U.S. is clumsy, reckless, ineffective, and vulnerable. If I was China, I'd surrender now. I mean, this is so funny. Oh, it's so much. It's so great. Art of the Deal, more like Art of the Neil.
From the Republic.
Oh my God, he went on Fox 5. Did JD Vance go on Fox 5? Oh, come on. How come he gets to do it, but I don't get to do it? That's fucking bullshit. There's no way we're actually paying him $300 billion, right? I mean, it's not we are. We're allowing it to go there. Okay? We're allowing it $300 billion of American dollars to flow to Iran. You know, it's just new angle by Israeli officials for why they lost the war. Israel's culture minister says that Israel could have easily wiped Iran off the face of the earth on its own, but didn't do so because we respect the U.S. They mean nukes, by the way. Oh, America did not let us use the nukes. Israeli platform. Since this morning, Hezbollah hasn't stopped trying to hit and kill our soldiers. Our soldiers being prevented from responding. In effect, they're just ducks in a shooting gallery. I don't want to see another permitted for publication announcement of a fallen soldier in southern Lebanon. God forbid. Either let them fight properly or pull them out of there. If this continues, it's only a matter of time until a disaster happens. Let's hope for good news. Also, they are responding, but, you know, the idea that they're prevented from responding is bullshit, but, you know, they'll say that anyway. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Trump called out Israel on Fox. Yeah, I saw this. It's very funny.
Israel's fighting Hezbollah too long, and too many people are being killed. And you don't have to knock down an apartment house every time you're looking for somebody, because there are a lot of people in those apartment houses, and they're not all Hezbollah, that I can tell you. And I suggested to Israel to let Syria take care of
Put that shit in my veins.
Because to be honest,
put that shit, hook it up, strap it up to my fucking veins, dude. Pump whatever the fuck he's putting out there directly into my fucking veins. Oh my Lord.
I can tell you.
Of course, another only Nixon can go to China moment. Only Trump can go to China moment. Only Trump can just come out and be like, Israel sucks. They're murdering people. Why are they blowing up apartment buildings? If any Democrat said this, they would be fucking assassinated, okay?
And I suggested to Israel to let Syria take care of Hezbollah. Because to be honest with you, I think they do a better job of doing it. And I didn't like Syria. I didn't like where 2 hours before we're signing the agreement, that there was an attack in Lebanon, in Beirut. It wasn't like in the southern side, and it was in Beirut. I did not like that. I let them know that. I didn't like it, not at all. But I think that Syria, he's pulled that country together amazingly quickly. He's very capable. And he's been very good for me. He's protected everything that I've asked for, he's done. And if Israel can't do the job without killing everyone else, he'll do the job. Syria will do the job.
Yeah. Speaking of which, by the way, as Dave DeCamp also points out, the White House group chat when the U.S. knocked down an apartment building in Yemen. Typing too fast. The first target, their top missile guy. We had a positive idea of him walking into his girlfriend's building and it's now collapsed. Excellent. Punch emoji, American flag emoji, burning emoji. Yeah. My man is gonna convert to Shia Islam soon if this keeps going. Vance was grilled by the ladies of The View. Oh, this is so funny. They're making him do this is so awesome, dude. JD Vance has to now own this deal and just like sell it to people as though it's good. And he has to go on every fucking news outlet. What an incredible moment.
29.
Oh, he's doing a fucking dumbass book tour. Oh, that's so
seasons.
awesome.
This show
He's doing a dumbass cuck tour, dude. JD Vance humiliation ritual. Obviously, he's used to this. He's literally Peter Thiel's blood boy, right? So he's doing a humiliation tour, which is something that he's probably most comfortable with doing. Still awesome, though. Still awesome to watch it in real time.
has invited thousands of guests with all kinds of diverse points of view. And we have been asking our next guest to join us for a while now. So we're glad that he's taken us up on the offer today. Please welcome author of the new book, Communion, Finding My Way Back to Faith, the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance.
Surprised at how tall you are. He's very tall.
Well, if you only see somebody on TV, you just see their, in my case, giant head. So
We all
it hides how
have
tall I
giant
am.
heads,
That's
right. We are the table of big heads here.
So this is a
Alyssa-
show of MAGA Republicans, right? That's
Yeah,
what my
right,
media
yes.
team told me. Okay, good.
Well, we'll find out. I think you have the first question, Alyssa.
Yes, Mr. Vice President, thank you for being with us. Now, you came into office with clear momentum, but when I talk to my friends and family who supported you and the president and still support you and the president, one issue comes up time and time again, and it's the economy. Inflation's up, wages are down, gas prices are starting to drop at news of this Iran deal, which we will get to.
Sure.
What can you say to voters who trusted you to lower costs on day one, and will they be satisfied by November?
Well, I think that's ultimately up to the voters, right? I think voters have every right to expect as much as possible out of their elected representatives. We certainly know that we were elected on a number of mandates. One was to close the border, which I think we've done successfully, exceeded expectations there.
It's so funny that he has to do the lib tour whenever he goes on a book tour because Republicans are fucking illiterate. It's awesome. Republicans literally don't know how to read. So he has to do the lib-ass book tour where he's like, well, you know, you guys should read this book, please. Please read this book.
Number two was to lower prices, and there's a lot of work to do, in large part because of what's happened over the last few months in the Middle East. But as you said, oil, which got up to $120 a barrel, now is at $80 a barrel. That's going to be reflected in lower fuel, lower food, lower energy prices. But there's a lot more work to do. The thing that I'm proudest about most, because as some of you may know, I grew up in one of these towns that was forgotten by the leaders in Washington of both parties.
Hillbilly
is that you're
elegy
seeing,
time.
that's Middletown, Ohio. That's my hometown in southwestern Ohio. It was a proud steel town. I was raised by a grandfather who was a union steel worker. Is that those jobs disappeared. Those factories closed down. The thing that I'm most excited about is you do see a large amount of capital investment coming into our country. Factories being built, construction jobs are way up, manufacturing jobs are starting to catch up. So there's a lot more work to do. I think that we're making progress, but ultimately we're going to make our pitch to the voters in November, and they're the ones who get to decide whether we've done a good job or not, and that's how they're going to vote.
Okay. So President Trump has called affordability a hoax. He said that, not me. He's pouring money into this ballroom of his and the reflecting pool. Oh, don't forget the Arch de Trompe, I call it, and a White House cage match. All these things. Why is he doing them when you just, everybody knows that Americans are struggling? What is he spending all this money for?
Well, I got to defend the president on the hoax point. What the president said is the idea that Republicans caused the affordability problem is a hoax. And I think that's true. If you go back to the Biden administration, inflation got up to 9% under the Biden administration, okay? Right now it's at 3.5%. By the way, too high. We're doing everything that we can to bring it back down to 2.5%, which is where most people would like to see it. But we inherited an affordability problem. We're doing a lot to make it better. It's going to take a little bit of time. There's a lot more work to do. But the president knows that a lot of Americans are struggling. In fact, he ran on that. He talked about it. And we've done some things and made some good progress on that point.
He just said he loves the inflation.
What he said, Anna, what he said is that he loves the fact that the inflation is going to come down when this war is over. That's what he said.
That's not what he said. That wasn't a direct. Are you his interpreter or are you his vice president? Come on.
Well, look. What the president said. People were asking about the inflation. They were asking about the affordability problem, which again is very real. And what he said is, "I love the inflation because it's going to come."
He literally said, "I don't give a fuck about affordability." And I don't give a fuck about the inflation. He just straight up said the inflation numbers are good. Good luck.
Down when the war is over. And now, again, we already see gas prices today, $4.06 a gallon, too high, but way down from where they were just a couple of weeks ago. So there's a lot we got to do, but I think that we're doing as much as we can. We're going to keep on working at it. And again, the American people are going to make their verdict, but I think that we have a very credible case to run on, that we brought a lot of new investment. We're building the factories. That is going to pay serious dividends for the American people over the long haul.
When?
Well, Joy, if you look at manufacturing jobs,
okay.
Those jobs are increasing at a large number. Construction jobs are doing a little bit better. So what happens is the construction jobs to build the factories, and then the manufacturing workers go back to work. That also leads to rising wages. That's one of the things that I'm very proud of. Is if you look at the amount that wages are going up now compared to, say, 2022, they're going up way faster. That's a good thing. You know, the affordability problem. Again, gas, way too high right now. Certain things way too high. You know, rents have been either
when he says
flat
construction jobs are going up, he means people are building data centers, by the way. Which you can't fucking say out loud because everyone will get very mad.
Down for 12 months now. So there are things that are showing signs of life, things that are showing signs of progress. My view, I'm sure you guys don't agree with it, is that we inherited a mess and we're fixing it. But sometimes it takes a long time to fix a mess.
Sonny.
Okay. Mr. Vice President, according to a new report from the New York Times, you were the leading voice behind the scenes to release the Epstein files, and we applaud you for that. And you warned top officials, including top DOJ officials, at strategy meetings taking place inside the Situation Room. We understand that there are tapes of those meetings, that this was a huge problem for the base. The report says you even floated having Tucker Carlson interview Ghislaine Maxwell to clear the president's name, but you were rebuffed by your people. Why?
Well, I'd say, first of all, don't believe everything that you read in any newspaper, whether it's a right-leaning paper or a left-leaning paper, because as you guys know, well, there are things that are true, things that are false, and things that are totally missing context. Well, here's what I'll say. So, number one, I am frankly, kind of a conspiracy theory on the Epstein stuff. And that story says that that's one of the things that's true, is that some people called me a conspiracy theory on the Epstein
Susie
stuff.
Wiles called you a conspiracy
and I love
theorist.
Susie, but absolutely, she thinks I'm a conspiracy theorist on the Epstein stuff, because I think that it's crazy that you had this guy who is clearly a sex predator who is hanging out with a lot of very wealthy and powerful people.
Like Trump.
That really bothered me.
Like
I don't know
Trump.
what's there.
Like
of
your
course,
president.
nobody knows exactly what happened
Like
unless you were
President
there.
Donald Trump.
But that really bothered me, and I wanted to have full transparency. What I disagree with is the idea that the White House wasn't committed to full transparency. We have to remember, like, I was inside the room when some of these decisions were made. The Epstein Files Transparency Act, the one that the president signed, the one that led to all these files that we're seeing, the emails. By the way, again, sorry, Joe, I do have to defend my boss. I know you guys don't always appreciate this, but, you know, one of the things you see in the Epstein emails is that Jeffrey Epstein hated Donald Trump, and that Donald Trump literally reported Jeffrey Epstein to the police.
Okay,
that's
but
one of the things that came out of these
They were
files.
best friends for about a decade. And remember, he signed that Transparency Act under duress when some Republican women, Congresswomen like Lauren Boebert, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, did not give in to his pressure of not signing. He brought Lauren Boebert into the Situation Room to pressure her into caving on not voting for that bill.
So let me respond to that. So
That's all true.
Let me respond to that. So number one is, yes, Donald Trump, and he said this, he knew Jeffrey Epstein back in the 1980s. He also threw Jeffrey Epstein out of his club when he found out he was a creep and reported him to the police. That's something that the media often misses when it reports the story. They tell the fact that they knew each other in the 80s, which the president himself admits. They ignore the fact that he narked on him to the police and led ultimately to JeffreyEpstein's downfall. To that point, Anna, you know the Republican Party. Well, it's one of the things that led to law enforcement investigation. But on the point that you made,
it was allegedly over a real estate deal that they got into a fight over.
But the email says actually
they didn't just know each other. Let's just be truthful and transparent here. They didn't just know each other.
He's in a lot of
They were
pictures.
incredibly close friends.
he reported him to the police. That's what I'm saying. That is objective. That is objectively true.
But
Anna made
continue.
another point that I think would be if I may, because Anna made a very important point. This question about, did Donald Trump release these files only under duress from Republicans? And Anna, you know the Republican Party probably better than I do. The idea that Donald Trump runs around afraid of Republican congressmen as opposed to the other way around is kind of crazy.
It was a bipartisan, though. It was Republicans and Democrats.
But because the Republicans control the House and the Senate, particularly the Senate, you need the Republican sign-off. What the president did is, look, I will say this. Again, I was in there in the meetings. He was very frustrated that the Democrats were making this about him when he's like, look, I threw the guy out of my club. I am the guy who reported him to the police, or one of the people who reported him to the police.
So why did he try to prevent it? Like, if he's a white hat pedophile, because that's the funniest argument. But if he's a white hat pedophile, which we know is bullshit, right? Then why was he presenting impediments against the release of their files over and over again? Because he was. Why did he say the Jeffrey Epstein files are a hoax, and that anyone who is defending the Jeffrey Epstein files release is not even a fan of Donald Trump? They were like, they're no fans of mine. Level 2 hype train, ladies and gentlemen. We can carry the flame twice in one day. If you subscribe to the Piker Broadcasting Service, the People's Broadcasting Service, and support independent media, which is the only way that you can support independent media here, is by subscribing, because there's no ads, there's no nothing. And if we get the level 10 hype train, you already know, baby, we'll double the flame.
The president was frustrated about that, absolutely. But he eventually came to say, you know what? Let's just get everything out there. Let's have this out in the public. And he actually called the senators. I was there. He called the senators and said, you know what? Pass this bill, I'll sign it. And that was it.
Well, then let me follow up briefly. Let me follow up briefly.
Yes.
It sounds like you believed that there would be men in the files who would be held accountable. Rightfully so. And the American people are with you on this. Why haven't we seen the release of over 2.5 million additional Epstein file documents? It seems like you are someone that is on the right side of history on this.
So we have released, I think it's 6 million files or 6 million pages of documents. My understanding is that 2.5 million, Sonny. I'm going to check on this to make sure, but my understanding is that a lot of those are duplicates of things that have already been released.
So then
we're not holding
we're not holding anything back.
Some of those things.
But why don't you release them? Oops, I said Mark Levine. It's Mark
things are
Levine.
like the courts have to order you to release them. So that was one thing that we confronted. You talk about these situation room meetings is, there was a big bunch of files that existed, I think in the Southern District of New York, or maybe it was some other jurisdiction. But we were like, we want to release these files, but you need the court approval in order to release the files. Sometimes we would apply to release the files and the courts would say no. So those particular documents, I would need to actually know exactly what you're talking about.
3.5 million documents were released. And my understanding is 2.5 million have not been released.
Those may have been the ones that are under court. So I don't know what the documents you're talking about, but I'm telling you, we're...
What is this? You should stop working with this org? Yeah, the worse the crisis gets for Mark, the bigger his pins get. Kurt Mills says, you better not be wearing an increasingly large American flag pin and advocating forever war with Iran when I get there. Me. Every day, the pin grows. Every day, the motherfucking pin grows, dude.
Let me go to break.
Sure.
Let me go to break. Because people are looking at me. Going.
And let's talk about the book. I'm here to sell books. Communion. Buy my book, please.
Eventually we will, but this is a good opportunity for us to get some clarity on stuff.
Great.
We'll be back with more with Vice President J.D. We are back with Vice President J.D. Vance. Sarah, you got the question.
Yes, Mr. Vice President. In your new book, Communion, you write about your personal evolution with faith from evangelical to atheist to Catholic.
Sure.
Convert.
No, I'm not doing this. I will never watch the rest of this. What is this? Black history is what? Okay, I don't care about his book. I would rather die than fucking hear him talk about his new dumbass book.
Republican side of this as well. It is a bipartisan concern.
Well, I think, look, some of the criticism comes from the fact that if Donald Trump were elected the supreme leader of Iran, the Democrats would still say that the United States had lost this. There is a fundamental refusal to acknowledge how much has changed in the Middle East over the last few months. And again, that assumes that nothing else happens. But if this deal actually comes to fruition, meaning if the Iranians actually comply with it, we have transformed the Middle East in a way that is amazingly beneficial for both the American...
Literally leaned into Israel so hard that it completely rerouted decades-old allegiances. It did transform the region. Yeah, it did. He's not wrong, just not in favor of American dominance. Like, I'm conflicted here because on the one hand, also we're at level 5 hype train. Doesn't seem to me like we're going to be carrying the flame today, I'll be honest. I'm conflicted here because on the one hand, I'm like, good, this is good. It's good that the Gulf nations are now reconsidering the way that they've dealt with Iran and are forced to reckon with the reality that Iran is there to stay. And therefore, instead of, engaging in endless militarism, unnecessary friction, and leaning to Israel, they will lean to Iran as a regional partner for stability. This is bad for America being the world police, but it's totally good for long-standing stability, especially if they further push out Israeli influence. I mean, that would be fantastic for regional stability. UA Streams, thank you for the 50 bones. Holy moly. Oh, this is what has been my advocacy for the longest time. I have said over and over again that middle powers need to unite and break away from the American hegemony. In order to do this, how is Iranian imperialism over the Middle East good? Buddy, you are saying it's Iranian imperialism. That's just cope. It's always Iranian imperialism. It's not. Iran has proven that it is a stable partner in the region. Iran is invested in regional stability. They have to be, because they live there. We don't. And the only country that is an expression of our interests in the region doesn't care, behaves like it doesn't live there, because it wants to fuck up the entire board so they can keep They can keep dominating other neighboring countries. Like, you make it seem as though there is like some sort of Iranian imperialism taking place, when Israel is the country that's invading the neighboring nations. It's pure cope. It is pure fucking Americope of the highest order. No, it is. It's Iran's way, or Dubai gets destroyed by Iran. Brother, the United Arab Emirates openly declared their allegiance to America and Israel, the two countries that are fucking up the entire region. Why do you think these guys are infallible? That they're just like innocent in this process? What are you talking about? What country, in order to defend its sovereignty, does not fight back against the fucking allies of the country blowing them up? The United Arab Emirates allowed American platforms to launch missiles at Iran. Why the fuck would Iran not blow back? Are you fucking stupid? Why do you think that these fucking countries get to have American military bases, American troops stationed on their soil, American radar installations, American planes that fly off of their airports inside of American military bases against another country in the fucking region, and then that country's not allowed to fight back? What are you, fucking stupid? Do you have a brain? What the fuck is wrong with you? Of course they're gonna fucking fight back, dumbass. Jesus Christ. That's not fucking imperialism, stupid. Imperialism is what America has done in building American military bases on the ass cheeks of a fucking foreign adversary. How can you say they want regional stability yet sponsor the axis of resistance? Because the axis of resistance is formed against the one country that is actually causing instability in the region, and it's a fucking deterrent against those two countries, the United States of America and Israel. Axis of resistance is a appropriate moniker. Resistance against what? Think. Resistance against what? What are they resisting? You don't want to make this argument. Isn't it used against the Saudis, or is that grouped against with American imperialism? Yes, of course it's grouped with American imperialism. You're talking about Al-Qaeda. You're talking about Daesh. What the fuck's wrong with you? Hello? Do you just read half the book and don't read the rest of it? Do you just hear certain things and you think, well, this is a talking point I can deploy? Yeah, what are they resisting against the Saudis? They're fucking fighting Al-Qaeda, you fucking idiot. Yes, that is an expression of American imperialism as well. Motherfucker said, oh, I'm sorry. They're fighting ISIS too hard in the region. Yeah, did you fall asleep halfway through the audiobook? What happened? You heard about it? You heard about the first half. You're like, well, there's a lot of regional conflict between Iran and Saudi Arabia. And then you didn't hear about the rest of the story? Is that what happened? Yeah, I can't believe Iran funded the Zaidi Shia Yemeni tribes, the Houthis, when there was a fucking civil war fomented by Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates in Yemen. I can't believe they did that. That civil war was also instigated not just by the Sunni Muslims in Yemen, but by Daesh and Al-Qaeda. I think it's fair, but still sponsor this group does and instability. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It only adds instability if you are looking at the equation from the perspective of America. Because America has ambitions in the region, and Israel is the enforcer in the region. Okay? Remember, axis of resistance. What are they resisting? They are resisting American imperialism.
Damn, this guy's good.